Greetings, friends. This is We Own This Town Music, the podcast for showcasing new and notable tracks from Nashville and surrounding areas. I'm your host, Michael Eads, and this is volume 295. For this episode, we've got a real special one. As you can tell from the episode title, I've got some special guests here with me today. Joining me in the studio is Negro Justice and Aaron Dethrage. Welcome.
What's cracking?
What's up?
Normally on the show, I put together a playlist of tracks from around the Nashville area, but we're going to switch it up this week, and we're going to talk about one album, the debut full-length record from Negro Justice, entitled Chosen Family.
Let's go.
Hopefully by now, by the time you hear this, you, the listener, the album is out.
Oh yeah, it should be. These go up Tuesdays.
These
right?
go up Tuesdays.
Oh, yeah.
Album comes out Monday, March 14th.
March 14th, Pi Day, my born day.
Your birthday, and kind of a gift to the world.
Yeah, man, it's my birthday gift to me. You remember that shit on Emperor's New Groove, bro? He said, it's my birthday gift to me.
So what I want to do is I want to give a little background here on how I know Negro Justice. I randomly stumbled across him on Bandcamp, just cruising around.
Beautiful. That's a beautiful thing.
Found the Stimulus EP back in June of 2020, I think. I've been following along ever since. There's the second Stimulus EP, 2 Ronin, Father Figure, Dutchmaker's Thesis, Resplendent, a few more I'm probably forgetting, but each of those releases showcased a growing confidence in the vocal delivery and the variety of styles of music. As you'd hope for anyone, the more he released, the better and more interesting it got. Not to blow smoke up your ass while you're sitting right next to me, but it's really been getting impressive as it goes along.
Appreciate it, man.
Debut full-length album, Chosen Family, is available on March 14th, as we mentioned, and it's a fantastic culmination of the collaborations with appearances from Gee Slab, Rio Tokyo, Amber Woodhouse, Corduroy Clemens, HB Mandela, Chan Tate, Black Wizzle, C.I. Aki, F.U. Stan, and a host of producers that I'm not even aware of, Aaron Dethrage being the primary man behind the boards, I believe. Is that correct?
Yeah, I did the mixing and mastering, recording, all the studio side of it. I produced one of the tracks, but most of the production work was just vibes. He did, I'd say, probably 2/3 of the record. And then Calcutta, who is an LA-based... LA, right? Cali.
The Bay.
Yeah,
He's in
yeah.
the Bay, yeah. Bay boy.
Yeah. He's a producer that Chris has worked with before on some of those earlier projects.
Yep.
And then, I think, have you put out anything from Corey before, or is this the first Just Vibes project?
No, this is the first, because the first single was GTSH, and that one was produced by Corey. But yeah, so it's really just like the 3 core is Corey, Calcutta, and Aaron.
Mm-hmm.
Aaron.
All right.
Yeah, that's it. It's just those 3.
Yeah.
All right, before we dive into the nitty-gritty details, I just want to throw this out there. Highly recommend that you follow Negro Justice on Instagram, Negro_Justice. On Twitter, Negro Justice, no underscore.
Hey.
And on Bandcamp at negrojustice87.bandcamp.com.
Yes.
All that's linked in the episode description. I don't expect you to remember all of those URLs and usernames, but definitely do that. And check out the record if you haven't yet already, because this episode is a track-by-track breakdown of the whole album and all of the things that went into making it. Aaron, where can people find you?
I would say the best place to look for me is probably the 61 Tribe accounts. That's kind of my main focus right now and kind of what I brought to this record. It's at 61 Tribe on Instagram, and then I guess it's Twitter also, just at. Yeah, so at 61 Tribe on Twitter.
Which you have heard 61 Tribe on this show many times before, and I guarantee you will hear 61 Tribe on this show in the future.
We have a lot in store. But the whole 61 Tribe brand is just kind of... this is part of the vision of that. The collective stuff we do is just a part of the whole. It's really here to elevate the individual artistic kind of pursuits of the artist as much as bring them together to make collaborative art.
Yeah.
So, I run those accounts. I have a personal account, but that's more about me talking about my dog and my day job. So,
is the dog cool, though?
Oh, yeah. She's great. Shout out to Abby.
Hell yeah.
She doesn't like Chris sometimes, but other than that, she's great.
Nah, she just don't.
She's coming around.
She just don't know she liked me yet.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's a good transition into the actual album and how the album came together. Before we get into the individual tracks, let's talk about what was the sort of impetus behind making a full-length record. You'd put out a number of releases before, EPs, single tracks. Obviously, that's the next step, is do a full-length record. But how do you start that process? How do you get into that? Were you already hooked up with Aaron and you knew that was your place to be for putting it all together?
Yeah, so I was already connected with Aaron I met him through Slab, through doing Resplendent. That's how me and Aaron initially connected. It was Slab and I did Resplendent at Eastside Manor, where he's the, Renaissance man, producer, engineer, mixer, master.
I hope Renaissance man is on the business card.
Origami, paper folder, making paper cranes. I don't know. But no, so I linked with Aaron through Slab, and the album was actually Aaron's idea. Like he came to me and it was like, dude, I want to do a record. And that kept coming up, and he would say it just like that every time. We would be in the studio, he'd turn and look at me, he'd be like, man, I want to do a record. And I was like, you want to do one with me? It's like, you know Slab in them, right? Like, it was like I was getting a little bit self-conscious, like, me? Like, he wants to do it with me? Why? And I was like, nah. You know what? Let's make a record. Yeah. So,
all right. Thank you for that, Aaron.
Yeah. Aaron was really the driving force behind it. I was ready to get in there and just cook and make, keep doing the EPs, keep doing the 6-1 Tribe stuff. But Aaron pushed for it. We started collecting beats, and we'll get into it as we go. But like the concept started to formalize, and it just went from there.
Which comes first, lyrics or beats?
Man, it's always a little of both with me, because I write to beats, but I also am just writing all the time. So I may write something a cappella or like not to any beat and just keep it around, and if I like it or it stays in my head when I hear a beat and it evokes that lyric, I'll be like, nah, okay, that was the one I need to keep around. It might just be one line, two little lines, or like a punchline or something I thought was cool that I thought of. I'll just jot it down and we'll go back and build from there. But I did a lot of like very focused writing for this, and like really going hard trying to collect as many beats as I could with different flavors, or if something wasn't inspiring me, just like, hey, give me, shoot me something else. So,
well, it definitely shows for sure throughout the record. There's a lot of diversity here, I think. So I'm sure, was that a collaborative experience where you were bringing the beats and say like, hey, does this work? Or how was the forming of it?
Yeah.
I don't know how much of this you even remember, but at the start of this record, I'm going to put my girlfriend on blast and she's going to be mad because she's sitting right here. But I was watching her one night, and she was working on a Pinterest board of trying to like figure out ideas for what she wanted to do to our house. And I was like, what if we approached a record that way? What if we made like a Pinterest board of what we want this record to be before we even start making it? And so I told Chris, make me a playlist of a record's length worth of songs that you wished you had made. Like when you hear this song, you're like, that is how I would start my record if I could make a record.
Yeah.
And so before we wrote or recorded anything for this, created this hour-long playlist of kind of like sonic inspiration for what we were trying to do.
Yeah.
We kind of like analyzed what happened in those songs that we liked so much about them. And we're like, okay, well, rather than saying, let's sit down and make a beat today, let's sit down and make a beat today that, the first track in our inspo playlist was a piano-only track. It was Ghetto Gospel, right?
Sauce Walker, Ghetto Gospel.
And in that track, it's just this 4-minute, 2-rapper.
Yeah, 2 rappers each doing a verse. They're both long, like very
story-driven verses.
Story-driven, passionately delivered verses, but it's just this piano loop. But it's so like striking and so powerful.
Amazing. Yeah. And so like when we approached the first track of the record, No Throwaways, we're like, okay, well, what if we envision this as just a piano-only track? And it didn't end up staying that in the long run. This was always just a blueprint to get us started. But we kind of approached each thing with this archetype in mind of like what we wanted to pursue with it. And I'd never done anything like that before, but it was really like, it allowed us to never feel like we had a full kind of blank slate when we were starting something new. We always kind of knew where it was going to head before we started it.
I
was cool.
I 100% remember that, bro. I still have the playlist.
Oh, I do too. I still listen to the playlist all the time, man.
That's a good little playlist.
Yeah.
I may have to
stand on there.
May have to ask for that at some point and see if we can share that.
The blueprint playlist. That's what it's in my YouTube. I can pull it up on my phone right now. I got you. Don't worry. Don't worry.
I mean, that's a extremely smart way to go about it. I mean, for myself personally, I find that creativity is very hard when it's just a blank sheet of paper. Like you're coming from nothing. But if you're coming from like a seed of an idea, you're not restricted to that.
Right.
Like, here's what we're thinking, but you don't have to like stay in those lanes, but you at least have a tiny bit of inspiration, something to lead you along the way. So that's a intelligent way to go about it. It's great.
I mean, you hear artists in the majors talking about like I think I remember an interview Jack Harlow was talking about a song where he was like, we just wanted to make something that sounded like we got it for cheap by the Clips. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I was like, well, and I mean, I listened to that song 15 times before I listened to the rest of that album, so that's not a bad idea.
And I feel like we did a really good job of being very like adaptive as we went along. Like that blueprint served its function, but as soon as we felt like our idea had evolved past the initial kind of like base level, we just left that in the dust. Yeah. Because we didn't want to make a record that sounded like those 15 songs. We wanted to make a record that you couldn't go back and tell where it started just by listening to it. We didn't want it to be like, oh, well, this is the one that obviously was inspired by that Drake song because it sounds like a Drake song. Right.
Totally.
Yeah.
That's great. I mean, the resulting album is very dense, but in a really good way. Like it sounds very thick. There's a lot of different styles. There's a lot of different messages throughout it. And it also has like a very cohesive theme throughout it too. So I think the efforts that you put forth have definitely show a lot. I mean, we'll get into this, but the transitions throughout the record, start to finish, are, I mean, I don't even have the word for it.
Our hard work paid off, bro, because we were very meticulous about them transitions.
I don't know if the streaming services have gapless playback, but you need it.
Yeah, we'll get into that because that was a issue we came in on mastering.
There's a setting in Spotify you have to turn off. So if you're listening to this before you've listened to the record, before you stream this record, and really any record, if you go into your settings on Spotify, there's a crossfade feature.
Crossfade, that's it.
Yeah. And it'll play the first second of a song while the last second of the song before it's playing, and that'll screw up what we've got going on, because this record, if you turn it on, really start to finish doesn't stop. Right. You know, from the moment you press play to the end of the record, it just kind of flows, and you don't really know a song has started before you're well into the first verse. And that was very intentional.
Yeah, man. And I was telling Aaron, part of the inspiration was that I'm a huge The Dream fan. I'm a R&B nerd. So like his first 3 albums had that quality, and it would be like it's a 16-song album, but it sounds like it's like 24 songs, and then everything like most beautifully seamlessly transitions into itself. And I told him and Miranda's girlfriend sitting right here, I said, let me show y'all one of my favorite moments in music, please. And it was the transition between the song Mr. Yeah and Kelly's 12 play on The Dreams. I think it was his second album, Love versus Money. Yeah, I was like, the transition between those 2 songs is like top 3 favorite moments in music for me, and so I really wanted to be like meticulous about the transitions.
Well, it worked. Yeah, it totally worked.
Cool. Good.
Practically speaking, how long did the record take to come to fruition? I mean, like the writing, the beats, and the recording. Like, is that 8 months? Is it?
Yeah, you nailed it. It's exactly 8 months.
That was great.
Yeah, I knew.
Great job.
Yeah. And I mean, through those 8 months, we had the holidays. We were doing 6-1 Tribe stuff. So I mean, it wasn't like every day we were 9 to 5 working on this record.
Inclement weather, as we all remember.
There have definitely been ups and downs through that process, but I mean, we started it whatever 8 months ago was. We figured that out the day we finished it.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't throw out 8 months as like, oh, this is absurd. I'm throwing that out as like, well, you're doing this in your free time. Like this is like, it's not a side project per se, but it's not like you said, 9 to 5. You're not working for 8 months, 40 hours a week.
I wish, man.
Eventually.
Yeah, we'd have more than one album.
Yeah. Eventually that'll happen, for sure.
That's 2023.
I have some theories about the whole album, but I think I might save them till the end.
I love your theories, Michael.
And just in terms of the...
You should share your theories.
I don't know, there might be some concepts at play here.
But you can't be having bourbon around when I come over here, bro.
But we'll see. What I'd like to do for the remainder of the show, we'll see how it goes. We're going to be flexible. I want to play each track from the record. Let the listener hear it, and then we'll come back after the song and we'll just talk about like what happened in that song, how was it produced, who was involved, what was the lyrical inspiration, any trivia, but not all the trivia.
Not all the trivia, because you don't get all the sauce up front, man. You got to ask for extra sauce.
Yeah, this is like you're gonna get great insight into the record, and it's a phenomenal record, but you're not going to get everything because you need to listen to it and you need to pull from it and you need to hear the pieces of it that speak to you. So yeah, the pieces. Is that that's not a great way to put it, but
no. I just said it. I was just ad-libbing your tee up there, bro. That was awesome. I was just ad-libbing your shit. I was like, yeah.
All right. So we're going to start with you called the first track No Throwaways, but the first track is A Message from Amaze 88, which is a really nice intro into the album. Yeah. So this is the intro, but not the first track, and I like that differentiation.
That is an important distinction to make.
All right, so let's hear A Message from Amaze 88.
What is good, kinfolk? What is good? It's Negro Justice. I appreciate y'all reaching out, man. Leaving me your thoughts, your insights. I do this because I learn and live and grow from y'all, you feel me? So, holla at me.
Please leave your message after the tone.
Peace, bro. It's your boy Amaze. Ocho. Just wanted to say what's up. Give my little 2 cents about choosing your family. Those that are creative are unique in a way that they have a different energy. And that energy connects in various ways. A lot of times it brings positive people. Sometimes it brings negative. But when it brings other creative people around, that's when it's special. That's when it's like a storm. You never know when the thunder's gonna hit. You never know when you'll see the lightning. But it does happen. And when it does, special. And it's unique. And it never happens the same way.
All right, we just heard A Message from Amaze 88. That is the intro to Chosen Family. I think it's a nice greeting from Negro Justice to the listener,
Man, that was the one that set the tone, man. So what we did was, as the concept started to formulate.
Yeah.
But so it was this idea of you choose your own family. And that was the original title I had for the album. But Aaron was like, well, maybe we can make it more punchy. What if you say Chosen Family? And I said, okay, bet.
Yeah.
And so the idea was, Aaron said, reach out to people that your friends, your family, your loved ones, have them send you like voicemail style voice notes. And Amaze 88 is a homie. He's actually in the Bay as well. He's a producer, an independent hip hop producer. And I discovered him through Das Racist. He did some collaborations with Kool-A.D. once Kool-A.D. went solo. They were like high school buddies, and they did some collaborations, and his beats are incredible. I love him. He's a great dude. I've met him in person a couple times when he toured, and love that guy. Can't say enough good things about him. And so I reached out to him, and I was like, hey man, will you do a voice note for me? He was like, okay, bet. And then he sent me that.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
Well, and he sent the beat too.
Right. So but he sent me the voice message, and I was like, dude, what? This is like like he spoke this on the precipice of a cliff
on the mountain.
Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like he was delivering it
so
to
poignant.
you know what I'm saying? And it was beautiful. And so Aaron had I had the idea of him to make a beat around it. Mm-hmm. And he was cool with doing that. And he sent that beat. And at first we didn't know what to do with it, honestly. We were like,
well, we got it really late in the process. We were like, I don't really know if there's room left on the record for something. And we just kind of threw it in and his voice note to kind of like listen to everything he'd sent us. Not really kind of thinking of them as a combined piece, but just trying to like take in the contributions that he'd made and trying to see what we could do with them. And I think I just like impulsively had the idea of like, okay, well, what if we treat this as like the overture of the record, the kind of like announcement of what we're trying to do? Because I felt like he did a really good job of introing the concept in a way that no one else on the record did, in a way that really like spoke to the collaborative nature of the record.
Yeah.
At this point we were pretty deep into the features list on this record. We knew that a lot of people had helped us make it. He did a really good job of summarizing that aspect of this process. I was like, well, what if we treat this as like set it up like people are leaving you these voicemails that are going to be sprinkled throughout the record.
Yeah.
Have you leave them a message that is kind of like the setup, and then every message that plays after it is, the response.
Yep.
You're saying, I need this knowledge and information from you guys, and then every message that comes after is what people left you in that messaging service. And we put the filter...
the vocal effect is so good.
When we put it on the beat, too, because the beat was like a fully fleshed out, to be rapped on beat. And we kind of like treated it as like hold music, like something you would hear if you were just waiting on a phone service. Mm-hmm. Shout out to Tyler, the creator, for the idea. He did that for the promo for the Call Me If You Get Lost record.
Yeah.
And when we heard Amaze's message over that beat, it just felt right. It felt like the intro to the record. And I mean, again, I was like maybe the second to last thing we added to the record. It was very late in the process.
That's wild. It's it's the overture. I mean, that is the perfect word for it. It's great. And as you all out there listening to this will learn, there are many more of those, and it totally solidifies that idea of chosen family, like these people reaching out and providing insight. I love it. I absolutely love it. Those that are creative are unique. I mean, just stood out.
I got chills when I first heard that, man. Mm-hmm. Like just the raw, because he actually called my phone and like left that, and then I just saved it off on my phone, and I was like, man, he came all the way through.
Yeah.
I will say, you asked me at some point over our Instagram, like, hey, send me a voice message. We're doing this thing. And now that I've heard the record, I'm glad that I failed to deliver. Because there's nothing I could have said that would have been on the level of the messages. They're so good. I would have been like, oh, man, I'm excited to hear your record. Can't wait to hear it. And my nerdy voice wouldn't fit in here. So I'm glad that I failed. But I appreciate the invite.
Absolutely.
Very much.
Yeah, I knew we were going to have way more than we needed when he asked me.
I had no idea. I asked Chris to do this, and he told me we had this Google Drive where we were kind of collaboratively just dropping stuff as we were making it for the record. And it's like, oh, I created a Drive link with all these voice memos if you want to check them out. And I was expecting, like, if I was given this task, I would come back with maybe 5 or 10 people that, you know, one of them was my mom. And like, it would not have been a dense roster. And I opened up this folder from Chris, and there was like 50 or 60 notes in it immediately. And we got more as the process went on. The amount of people that were excited to do this, and the variety of kind of takes and deliveries and tone. Yeah, it was more than we could ever use. It was incredible.
Yeah.
It really allowed us to kind of tell a secondary story throughout the record of kind of how people interact with Chris and like the diverse types of people that are in his life, and kind of like, explore his family and his interest outside of music, and like the communities that he's in outside of music. It was really, it was cool. It was more than I ever expected when we had the idea.
Hell yeah.
Well, maybe you'll do like a remix EP of just all of them.
Dude, I haven't, like, they're too good not to be used in some capacity.
Yeah. It's just fodder for the future. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, let's dive into the first track from the record. This is No Throwaways featuring Amber Woodhouse.
Twice.
When my mind move at breakneck speed, I break neck to protect my seed without prejudice. Combat specialist, Gold necklace. I cook a hater trying to save they bacon, making breakfast. Folks trying to play my block like it's Tetris. Gon' come to find it's naughty by nature, that shit treacherous. Got me feeling like Tony Stark in the desert shit. Am I gon' suffer my situation or better it? Are they gon' hate on my pigmentation or treasure it? Cause they don't give a fuck about niggas like some Confederates. I got much better shit to do with my time, like this, that, and etc. and improving my rhymes. I don't think they want my foot in their spine, but the sound of my foes' pain go good with the wine. They can't pay me for the show, I might do it in kind, long as I don't see no hating niggas like you in my line. Alright, buddy, okay. Take your corny ass and go play. Go now. Cause you know a nigga don't play. And you ain't seeing a nigga no way. Nah. This beat working like a long day. Talk about it. And I've been working all these long days. Talk about it. This my song, what they all say. Justice album crack front to back, no throwaways. No throwaways. I started rolling it up with hemp leaves. Only winning in my vision. You see what a simp sees. Man, please. I'm just trying to smoke in peace. I be zooted off the gases, it's just a figure of speech. Pen be moving the fastest, the words is within my reach. I just seek them out and I grasp them and then I put them to beats. Voice be getting raspy, I need to take me a drink. A young OG like Kenobi could give a fuck what you think. I toot my own horn like I'm Coltrane on a soul plane. I don't want no part of it, nigga, I want the whole thing. Look at a hater like, yo, that's your whole thing? Just hoping that you next to a nigga blowing like propane? Play a pros game, but you ain't got no game? I said I don't want part of it, nigga, I want the whole thing. There's only room for one nigga on this throne, man. That's it, no punchline. Go on, man. Alright, buddy, okay. Take your corny ass and go play. Go on now. Cause you know a nigga don't play. And you ain't seeing a nigga no way. Nah. This beat working like a long day. Talk about it. And I've been working all these long days. Talk about it. This my song, what they all say. Justice album crack front to back, no throwaways.
All right, the first track from the album, No Throwaways, featuring Amber Woodhouse. Gotta say, right off the bat, horns, saxophone, huge fan.
That was all Amber, man.
That's Amber, yeah. And that's our contribution to the track.
Aaron it made the Amber connection happen, man. I mean, you can elaborate on that if you want.
Smooth.
Yeah. I mean, she's just a local artist that I've done some work with. Kind of in talking about the 6 1 Tribe vision and trying to define what Nashville hip-hop sounds like. A lot of conversations that I've had with people are about the just like abundance of session musicians that we have in this town and the ability you can put your drink down and the ability
sensitive microphones,
the ability to really add any texture that you want to a song. I went to Belmont. I have a really deep kind of Rolodex of people that I know that the whole track, actually, I have 2 college friends that did the upright bass and piano on this too, that were kind of the core, and then we brought Amber in at the end to do the sax on it.
Because this was the one that you actually primarily produced, because it was a lot of the loops and stuff from the live musicians you had come in.
Yeah. And then, Corey did the drums that come in on verse 2.
Did the drums, and then Amber did the horns.
Yeah,
it's great. And I mean, the hook is amazing, and just like what a way to start the record, just like no throwaways.
No throwaways. The thesis statement, and like I was saying while it was playing, Aaron actually co-wrote that hook, because I had about 75% of that hook already.
You had the first 4 lines and you just repeated them, and I was like, well, what if we make it a full hook, and instead of repeating it, we just come up with 4 more?
Yeah,
and so I think I wrote like 2 or 3 of the following, and you wrote the real like bring home line.
Correct.
Because that's what sealed it for me. The no throwaways ending of that and the flow switch up when the beat drops out is what really like set that hook over the top for me, and that was all you.
Nice.
But yeah, we were talking about while the song was playing, we had done a song like the day or the week before that comes way later in the record, and in our mind we're like, okay, well, that is good enough that maybe that's the last song on the record. So if we're gonna bookend it there, what if the next thing we approach is the first song on the record? And we had that Sauce Walker Ghetto Gospel's reference track. So I brought some friends in to just lay down a piano and upright bass loop, and conceptually that was going to be the whole beat. But as we started laying it down and it had these additional sections that had a chorus part, we kind of built it out into more than that. We felt like that first song we recorded, George Jefferson Strut, really made like a statement, a really strong definitive hook and statement about what this record was going to be. And we wanted to do the same thing with the intro so that everything that came between those two moments we felt needed to measure up.
Yeah.
So we were, I would say, super intentional about getting this chorus right. I mean, we really spent a long time making sure that this made the statement we wanted it to make for the first song.
Yes. And we'll get to it more when we get to George Jefferson Strut later in the album, but that kind of became the measuring stick for the album because that was the first song we did.
Okay.
And we said, hey.
George Jefferson Strut's the first song that you did for the whole record?
Yeah.
I mean, we'll talk about it.
I know it's a long way away, but yeah,
we'll
I mean,
tell
it was
the story of that when we get there. But yeah, so that was it was. I was like,
yeesh is how we felt. We're like, man, if this is the first thing we do, we can really make a great record. If we make sure we make a great record.
Yeah.
Everything has to be as good as this or better.
Yeah.
And
so the motto just became no throwaways.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Lyrically, is this the first video game reference of many? Tetris is thrown out here.
Tetris, that's it. Yeah, that's gotta be. Yeah,
one of many. And then Tony Stark in the Desert, you mentioned that, which I actually find that to be Tony Stark in the Desert is a desolate sort of situation, but that's what makes him Iron Man. Is like being out in the desert. Very nerdy reference, but
it's a nerdy reference, but that's one of my favorite lines I've ever written.
Me too, man.
It really struck me.
Am I going to suffer my situation or better it?
Or am I gonna? Yeah. And he said, look, when they was working on the Ironmonger, and dude was like, Tony Stark made this shit in a cave with some scraps, and he said, look, bruh, I'm not Tony Stark. So it was that, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Also, other lyrics that I pulled out, Obi like Kenobi. Just rolls around in my head. And take your corny ass and go play.
Yeah,
Big fan.
That was something I heard a lot in my family growing up. Then y'all go play, bro. Go play. This is grown folks trying to talk. Y'all doing too much. Go play. Go outside.
I got that all the time.
Yeah.
Go outside. All right, we ready to listen to the third track here, Gassed, featuring Phase of the Major Players.
Yes, sir.
All right, here we go.
Gassed.
Hey, what's going on, Major Players in the building? It's your boy Phase. Hey, listen, blood. Man is super, super hype for the Chosen Family album. Man's hype out here, bro, because I know it's absolutely going to be mental, bare bangers, yeah? Banger after banger after banger. You get what I'm saying? You get me? Hey, listen, bro. Hey, listen. Choose your family wisely. They always say blood is thicker than water. But that is not always the case. You get me? Keep the ones closest to you close. Cherish them. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, boy, it's your boy Face. Can't wait for the album. I'm gassed. I'm gone, G.
Amazing. That was Gassed featuring Face of the Major Players. I was confused that it was Face or Phase because he's majorly British.
Yeah, he's British. That's my dude, though. So the Major Players they're from the UK. They're YouTubers of color, which I think is a beautiful thing. But their content is gaming. They do content for all of the genres of games that I love. And so it's like this kinship, this kindred spirit with these people on the other side of the world, you know? And so, and Face, and whenever he hears the podcast, he can correct me if I'm misinterpreting this, but I think he's Face because he's the primary face of the Major Players. When you see their YouTube content, it's usually Face. Mm-hmm. There's other guys that are involved, but I think they kind of are more behind the scenes. And so, they're doing all this content and stuff for action games and things that I love. And I don't know. I love their slang. I love their energy.
Yeah.
And so I reached out to him, and I'm part of their community, and so I reached out to him. I said, bro, would you do a voice note for the album? And he was down with it.
Yeah.
And that was the result. I gave everyone the same prompt for their voice note. And that's what's cool about the responses that we got, because I told everyone the same thing. I had this whole little spiel that I had it copied and pasted. You know what I'm saying? I was like, so the name of the album is Chosen Family, and you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And for him, I gave him some extra instruction. I said, I would love to hear some of your slang, bro. I love to hear y'all kick slang. Drop a couple Mentos in there. You know what I'm saying? And he came through and delivered, man. So I loved that one, man. I loved it. Well,
and just the message too that you can choose your family,
exactly.
and that blood is not always thicker than water. I think that is very poignant, for sure.
They say blood is thicker than water.
But that's not always true.
Man.
That's one of my favorite notes we got.
Mm-hmm. It's a great one. All right, well, let's jump into the next one. Spiritual Pressure, featuring Rio Tokyo and Black Wizzle. Here we go.
And gifted, slightly materialistic, but I throw this shit away if it interfere with my spirit. Hanging on to these lyrics, hoping it take me further than working for other niggas. They'll bet on me in an instant and no one will ever get it. My passion overstaffed and I aim it with great intention. I'm sure as shit is gon' hit you. Using every size brush, painting the perfect picture. Only writing what I live by. For me that shit is scripture. Any beat you give me, I promise I'm gon' kill it. So when it actually happens, just tell them it's premonition, forgiveness. Ask for that cause I'm willing to take it back and do it better than I did. Even when I did my best. Like a tattoo on my torso, I'ma say it with my chest. I've been sunning a lot of niggas, postpartum gon' be my death. I got people to protect, not a killer but don't test. You'll get every answer wrong and slumped on the desk, nigga. They say they want smoke, but they don't even know I'm really OG. But I'ma let them find out the hard way, I'm really OP. I'm a gangster, move quick and evasive. My product and placement, no one gon' erase me. I'm a gangster, move quick and evasive. My product and placement, no one gon' erase me. Yo, I apply pressure properly. Won't stop until my niggas get some equity, some property. Niggas is cocky, cause if we do this shit modestly, you and your little posse be addressing us improperly. Been all this time and they behavior still astonish me. Don't do this as a hobby, got a passion for making harmonies. Speaking of astonishing, you know what else astonished me? You lame niggas think you got a chance of stopping me. Make no mistake, I'm a grown man. And I got the cheat code, then I got with the program. And oh man, I own all my mistakes, dude. Everybody pointing fingers, I blame you. Cause if a nigga wanna get to some commas, to some decimals, nigga can't be good, nigga gotta be exceptional. Testing my patience, they better not test my testicles, cause all I got is my balls and my word. They say they wanna smoke, but they don't even know I'm really OG. But I'ma let them find out the hard way, I'm really OP. I'm a gangster, move quick and evasive. My product and placement, no one gon' erase me. I'm a gangster, move quick and evasive. My product and placement, no one gon' erase me. They say they want smoke, but they don't even know I'm really OG. But I'ma let them find out the hard way, I'm really OP. I'm a gangster, move quick and evasive. My product and placement, no one gon' erase me. I'm a gangster, move quick and evasive. My product and placement, no one gon' erase me. Erase me now.
Hey Chris, man, this is Jacob. Man, I'm in town. Hit me up whenever you get this. I know you're probably at work. One.
Perfect. That was Spiritual Pressure featuring Rio, Tokyo, and Black Wizzle. Wildly different stylistically than No Throwaways. I'm curious if that was an intentional decision, just to like set the tone of the record of expectations.
I think it was, yeah, because I think as soon as you heard that beat, Aaron, you were like, I want this to come behind, or like, you know, once we got No Throwaways established, it's like we wanted to come behind that with like really big energy.
Well, yeah, so going back to kind of like the blueprint archetype, No Throwaways was based on that Sauce Walker song, which was going to always be its own kind of standalone moment. There was no other beat that we picked for inspiration that was anything like that. And so tonally, we knew we weren't trying to stay in the same realm. And so we wanted to kind of seal the premise of No Throwaways with just like an undeniable statement of like, this is the quality of what we're bringing, you know?
Yeah.
We're going to make a statement as bold as there's no throwaways on this record. You have to follow that up with a song where they're like, well, if they're all like this, then yeah, they're right. There are no throwaways on this record. And Yeah, this was a beat that Corey had before we even started this record.
Yeah,
this was
he
like
was sitting on this one.
He'd had it for years, and he sent it to us, and it was one that we both heard, and we're like, I don't know what that's going to be, but it's going to be on the record.
Yeah, and what's crazy about that beat is I initially had like really bad writer's block to it. So it's like we all knew we wanted it on the album. It's like we're not leaving that beat. You know, we're not
too good.
Yeah, it's too good not to put that on there. And so Aaron was like, okay, let me see if any of the guys want to take a stab at it, like from the tribe.
Yeah.
And he kind of heard Ace on it.
Rio.
You know what I'm saying? Or Rio. Yeah, bro. We all in here calling we're such good friends. You know what I'm saying? Calling each other.
Yeah.
But Rio actually brought that song to life and was able to get me where I needed to be to perform on that song, because he actually emailed me and Aaron. He was like, I got a verse and I got an idea for a hook, and he emailed me his verse, and I'm trying to read it
just like text block, yeah,
right, as a block of text. I'm trying to read it to the beat to kind of get an idea of what he's trying to do. I couldn't quite do it, but I know how Rio raps. It's like that's not for me to understand right now. Like I just need to focus on the content. And so I was like, okay, this is the right type of energy. So we had Rio come out to the studio, and so he was there waiting on me. I come there, I get there, and you know, we sit down. We're like, okay, what's the plan for today? And that was me saying that, and Rio was like, bro, this is your shit. Like, what you trying to do? I was like, oh yeah, this is my album. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and so he had all that stuff ready, and I actually finished writing my verse that day. Like, I was like, because I was still like, up until the moment we were recording the song, I was having writer's block. And so while Ace was doing his parts, I went into another soundproof booth and just played the beat and finished my verse. And once I came out and heard what Ace did, I was ready to get in there, man. I was ready to get in there and get after it. And so that was one that we laid down, but I believe I actually even came back and redid that one, if I remember correctly. I think I came back and redid that verse like later in the process, because what was happening was my confidence in my vocal performance was improving as we were doing the album. So stuff that we did early on, we came back and like touched up. And like I redid whole verses, like just because I felt so much more confident in my voice.
Well, that's not abnormal, though. I mean, bands do that all the time, where they like write songs and then they go tour for a year, and then they're like, oh, the version that we formed this into while we were on the road is way better than what we did in the studio.
Yeah.
Well, and there's a certain amount of like on these collaborative songs. I first saw it when we did Resplendent, because you and Slab both did this. In these songs where there's multiple guys on it, whoever goes first, a lot of times once they hear like the finished product, they're like, oh, I kind of want to go do better. If what they brought is that good, then I want a better version of my idea. Yeah, that happened on 2 different songs in Resplendent, where Slab wanted to redo one after he heard how good your verse was, and you wanted to redo one after you heard how good his verse was.
That was Mr. Wonderful and Minnesota, respectively, because he heard me on Mr. Wonderful and he was like, nah. And then I heard him on Minnesota and I was like, nah.
And I mean, it was really just one of those that, like you said, we pieced the whole thing together in the studio, largely around kind of following Ace's lead. And then once Chris had some time to live with it, he's like, I gotta deliver. You know, the quality that Rio brought to the verse and then the hook, which he almost didn't even lay down. Like, he laid down the verse and then Chris did his verse, and we were trying to figure out what the hook was gonna be. And Rio was like, well, I wrote one. I just like, I didn't know if it was any good, so I wasn't going to say anything. And we're like, well, why don't you go in the booth and do it? And I think the take that's on there is the take that he did. Like the first most of the time, he's only in the booth once or twice for the stuff that he does. He just is a machine.
It's a one take.
And he laid that down, and we're like, I'm legitimately mad at you that you were going to leave without actually letting us hear that. And so a lot of it was kind of after the whole thing got pieced together, Chris kind of realized ways that he could make his verse better, but the content was always there. It was just about kind of matching the energy and making sure that it lived up to.
Like the exact same verse. It was literally just the vocal performance.
Well, the verse about getting equity, your verse, powerful. I mean, it's the fact that you had writer's block does not show. I mean, it's a very powerful, like heavy piece. So I think it's great.
It came on through.
Nice job working through that.
Thank you.
I also think that the young, black, and gifted, and slightly materialistic is a phenomenal line.
But I'll throw that shit away if it interferes with my vision.
It's great.
Yeah, man.
Man, that guy is just, he's built different.
Yeah.
That's all I can say.
Wonderful stuff. I mean, throughout the whole record, there are just so many incredible lines. We will not point them all out, but
not all of them.
Yeah. All right, let's go to Work in the Morning featuring Corduroy Clemens.
Hey.
city with a certain swag, assume a certain stance, focus on certain plans. You live the best you can, taking a certain path. Just don't let them make you a victim of circumstance. They told us hold fast until the soul passed. Not concerned about troubles of those with a troubled past. She was moving like Mario with the double dash. Still they kick Sha'Carri out the games cause she puffed the gas. She was training every day, I know she bust her ass. Competition looking like the blunt, boy, she smoked they ass. It was cool when she was winning and she hold the flag. Them sisters hold the country, only chance to keep his soul intact. They like to think we made progress, but who told them that? Y'all would rather die before y'all let a nigga hold a bag. No wonder we be outfitted with the shoulder strap, just so our kids can play in peace in the cul-de-sac.
Because I still gotta get it. They told me greatness ain't given.
I gotta work in the morning.
Because I still gotta eat. Just in case you thinking that it's sweet.
I gotta work in the morning.
Because I still gotta get it. They told me greatness ain't given.
Gotta work in the morning.
Because I still gotta eat. So ain't nobody safe up on a beat.
If I can't reach the stars, I'ma grab a ladder and climb towards them. Black lives don't matter, nothing we did was that important. We've been providing the heat, the city don't support it, but the bills gotta get paid, gotta work in the morning.
Damn, alright, let me quit snoozing this motherfucker. Alright, shit, okay. Alright.
And I've been on the grind, a nigga getting it. Every day from 8 to 5, a nigga getting it, he getting it. Whoever mowed the clay, they made him different. I guess it's safe to say they made him different. He different. It's hard to mind your business when the topic is me. Best you could hope to be is a bad copy of me. The shit you pushing is fake, you looking sloppy to me. Whatever option you take, you just a mockery to me.
Gotta work in the morning. Because I still gotta get it. They told me greatness ain't given.
I gotta work in the morning.
Because I still gotta eat. Just in case you thinking that it's sweet.
I gotta work in the morning.
Because I still gotta get it. They told me greatness ain't given.
Gotta work in the morning.
Because I still gotta eat. So ain't nobody safe up on a beat.
I don't know what your plans are for this song. This one is the one to me that's like, oh, the world will get it with this. Like, this is like single video material or something, you know?
Yeah. That's interesting.
Yeah. I had never thought of it.
I had neither. Yeah. I love this whole record. The whole thing's my baby. But yeah, I mean, this one...
Well, it's very relatable.
This is what that, and like this is one that came the first. Well, it was the one that it was one of the songs that came the furthest. Like it had the longest journey. Like it actually had a different beat when it was first made.
Oh yeah,
yeah. And so like it's
completely different stylistically, beat wise. We recorded vocals to that, and then when Clemens came in to do the hook, we changed out the beat with a new beat. That was like I think a minor key version of the original beat. So your verse was like almost right, but wasn't right anymore.
Yeah.
And so we had this like weird amalgamation of his vocals that did fit over the first beat, that didn't fit over the new one, and then Clemens' hook. And then we went back and completely redid yours, added the soundscaping.
All of my vocal, because he's just on the hook. So like we redid the entire song.
Yeah.
after
but I mean, isn't that necessary sometimes? If it's where it leads you.
Yeah.
One of the things that I love about this is the wild vocal effects on that top sample. Just like, I don't know what's happening there, but I love it. It's great.
What is it?
That's just Corey. That's how I got the beat. He just pitched up. I don't even know what the original sample was. No. When I received it, it was already pitched up and kind of warped into the version that it is now.
Interesting.
But I mean, we felt the same way, you know, talking about replacing the beat. We liked the kind of lyrical content of those verses that Chris had started, but we didn't feel like the first beat was really kind of like synthy and kind of like washy, and it didn't have like the energy that we after. It was like a very chill beat, and we wanted something a little grittier. And Corey sent us this, and I mean, same thing. We heard that sample, we're like, yep. I mean, and that's got to be on there.
I think all you did to it was just make them drums a little crunchier. I
did very little to the sample.
Yeah. But I make a point to note that because I could tell a difference in those drums just from the little bit that you did. So I mean, it was like it really elevated the song for me, like the drums coming through as hard as they do.
It shows for sure. It's definitely another example of the record sort of shifting as it is here at the top into different styles and kind of establishing itself. Like you don't really know what to expect from this record. It's you're continuing to give different variety throughout the beginning here, and it's nice. Like we're still continuing to introduce like the concept of the record. You know, I said it earlier, I think Work in the Morning is super relatable, and I think it's, you know, I love the interlude in this one. Like it's legitimately entertaining.
I think that was the first kind of transition-y element we added to the record.
Like this like cinematic type thing, you know, like
we do a lot of this in the 6-1 Tribe stuff, especially that first EP. I am kind of like softly coining the term Foley rap for it, of this idea of just kind of like treating it like a movie where you intersperse these very like cinematic moments that kind of like don't feel musical but don't pull you out of the song either.
Right.
You know, we did it in the I Might song on that first 6-1 Tribe EP, where the chorus just sounds like the cops are busting down the door in like a trap house. It's just like their dogs barking and guns cocking and like it was this very densely layered song. It was a really cool effect and something that I felt was unique to what we were doing. And so when Chris had these verses, the first verse I think was maybe 4 bars or 8 bars longer than the second verse was, and I was like, well, what can we do without
to glue them together?
Well, to make them feel like the same length without necessarily adding more content to the second verse, because I didn't feel like it necessarily needed to say anything more, but I didn't want it to feel shorter. And so we kind of just experimented with this idea of like in the middle of the song, the guy's alarm goes off and he has to like wake up and he's like, I'm back at it again. Kind of like hearkening back to the hook of No Throwaways 2 that I've been working all these long days. It's just kind of like building a theme of the life of a Nashville rapper. You know, there's a lot of, I've got this day job that I maintain in order to allow me to pursue my passions.
That's exactly that is exactly what
I wrote this down, so I'm so happy to hear that my theory was right on the song.
Let me hear your theory.
Is this about hustle culture? Music as a side gig?
Man, is it? I was very deliberate saying.
Yeah, I don't think what I got to was hard.
Between the hours of 8 to 5, you know what I'm saying? Because after that, I'm doing this. You know what I mean? So, you know, I wanted it to be relatable like that. Like, I think about these sessions we have, and the next day, we have these big set, like, man, we had 20 people in this too. We had Amir Blade was there, Slab, Ace, Rio, all these people, all these like incredibly talented, amazing people were there. And then it's like I get up the next morning and clock into my regular ass job.
You know I mean, the number of times I get messages from you and like Clemens and guys who are like, man, coming in and doing a day like that at the studio and then coming back and trying to sell cars or to sit here and, you know, troubleshoot IT, it just makes me feel like I'm not supposed to be here. Like, you know, that I just lived my life and now I'm like stepping back into something else. And like that escapism is like really what we kind of pride ourselves in at the studio. It's really the goal of what we do at Eastside Manor is to give people a space where, you know, we're right over by Mitchell's Deli. We're in the heart of East Nashville, but we want you to feel like you're in a different world. Yeah. Like where you're in a world where you can just focus on your art and make something that is really intentional and really kind of like refined.
I think that's the goal of kind of anybody that's making music. I mean, I think Eastside Manor is doing it exceptionally well, but this idea of like, I'm sort of trapped in this day job gig, but I'm really supposed to be doing this other thing. I feel that. You do not want to hear me rap ever, but I mean, like, I totally feel that sentiment a lot, and it's great. I mean, I think that's what makes this song, as I said, relatable, because I think everyone can kind of grasp that a little bit.
And I think it's a defining thing of Nashville. You know, as someone that like moved away for a couple of years, the absence of hustle culture in a new place was like really hard for me to wrap my mind around. You know, I had never been around so many people that just like worked their job and loved that. And, you know, it wasn't exactly what they wanted to do, but it paid the bills and they were happy. And, like, my brain just doesn't work like that. I lived in Nashville long enough that, like, my brain thinks in these huge aspirations. And the thing that I like about Nashville is everybody else's does too. You know, you're surrounded by dreamers and by people that are willing to work 2 jobs to pay the bills and to actually do what they want.
Yeah.
They'd rather do that than, you know, have a hobby, sleep,
or just not do it. You know what I mean? Like, I can't do this thing. I aspire to do X thing, but I can't do it because I'm locked into my day job. But
it's a very encouraging city, I think. I think the hustle culture here is such that you see so many people doing it that it kind of subliminally keeps you motivated. You know, there's a lot of motivation that I get just from seeing how many other people are working as hard as I am.
All right, let's listen to the next track here. Justice the Abstract featuring HB Mandela.
Hey, Negro Justice. Negronius, Justonius, my brother. What's good? Ain't no just us, just us. Y'all too sorry. Anyway, look, man, sorry, I'm gonna call later because I need to get you on the horn, my brother.
Thinking on my younger days, that shit was weird, Joe. They tried to make us look up to the white superheroes. J. Cole, no role models for little Negroes. Now they lining up on the block like they shooting free throws. I wrote some lines that ain't rhyme, but it was neat prose. If I even glance at the pen, lyrics, I bleed those. Beats composed by vibes, nigga, I need those. A nigga like me at the top. How the heat go, shit rise like the cream of the crop. Look out below. We bought this bitch off the lot. What up, Bino? It's nothing in this world I wouldn't do for my people. What we doing concerning you, so quit looking through the peephole. Prestidigitation, bringing magic to the situation. Like Irvin Johnson and Mikey giving a presentation. Got a special mind, I specialize in breaking limitations. I taught myself patience, cause I hate waiting. Suckers still on bright ideas, I'm making innovations. I'm on original shit, they on some recreations. Now it should be clear I don't do this shit for the recreation. Weak minds complacent, no time for hesitation. A nigga strike when the iron's hot, it require thought. Drexler with the glide, watch me slide across the firewall. What's the scenario? They checking vibes and stuff, everything is fine. I mean fair, check the rhyming, bruh. Sell out the rhyming, bruh. Whole tribe climbing up, you know we keep it rolling, never folding, never have enough. What's the scenario? They checking vibes and stuff, everything is fine. I mean fair, check the rhyming, bruh. Sell out the rhyming, bruh. Whole tribe climbing up, you know we keep it rolling, never folding, never have enough. Had to turn off Deja McBride so I could write my rhymes. She was doing pump fake on the IG Live. Niggas playing live instruments on either side. And if you seen what I seen, nigga, you felt the vibe. Harmony's incredible, the acoustics was sounding right. Ain't nothing peeking but the sun sneaking through the blinds. Look at the backs of whack, nigga, gotta go behind. This shit be like an M. Night flick, nigga, I know the signs. Text my cuz, got some cooking to do. Finna hire me an agent, got some booking to do. If you look me in my eye, you know you facing the truth. And my shit gon' clean your palate if you drinking the cool. Age, you ain't the only one they play for a fool. Take a seat in the thinking chair, I'ma give you a clue. The idea is to have a bunch of people hating on you. And the sky's the only limit to what I think I can do. What's the scenario? They checking vibes and stuff, everything is fine. I mean fair, check the rhyming, bruh. Sell out the rhyming, bruh. Whole tribe climbing up, you know we keep it rolling, never folding, never have enough. What's the scenario? They checking vibes and stuff, everything is fine. I mean fair, check the rhyming, bruh. Sell out the rhyming, bruh. Whole tribe climbing up, you know we keep it rolling, never folding, never have enough.
If we work together, we can fix it. V is for vendetta and the L's for you to listen. Justice and Mandela ain't just brothers cause we misfits, there's some other shit you missing.
We always go be brothers.
Tribe shit, do or die shit. If they knew we had the juice, it would consume our lives quick. All the fucking pain that you always roll the dice with. Still the nicest, chosen family, I really like this. Double the price for the dumb rich white kids. Never felt right cause I'm really not like this. See in my eyes that I might be a flight risk. Only getting freaky when the lights dim. Lit like a tiki in the islands. No time for a side bitch. Keep it in the Ville like Dyson. Moving through the shadows with the silence. So keep that shit in mind next time you spend the night in.
What's the scenario? They checking vibes and stuff, everything is fine. I mean fair, check the rhyming, bruh. Sell out the rhyming, bruh. Whole tribe
tribe climbing up. You know we keep it rolling, never folding, never have enough. What's the scenario? They checking vibes and stuff. Everything is fine. I mean, fair check the rhyming, bruh. Sell out the rhyming, bruh. Whole tribe climbing up. You know we keep it rolling, never folding, never have enough.
All right, that was Justice the Abstract featuring HB Mandela. This is the first track of the album to me that feels a bit more contemplative and intentionally slowed down. I mean, obviously, tempo-wise, that's clear, but lyrically, too, as well. I think, like, thinking on my younger days, it tried to make us look up to white superheroes, like, very poignant, very introspective, and very personal. Not boastful at all, just like, how about this? Like, very reflective on the world.
I never had that thought until I wrote that line. But it was like, you know what I mean? Like, it was like, I was like, oh, damn.
Yeah.
It was kind of like, oh, shit. Moment for me, but nah, it was
No, I was just gonna say it's like a white privilege thing, like, oh, Superman.
Yeah.
Everybody loves Superman, even though he's very boring, but you know, but he's just a white guy.
Superman's a bum, dude. I don't like Superman. I never actually, no, I did like him when I was a young kid. All little kids like it, but like when I got to learn the thing and then I read The Dark Knight Returns, I was like, nah, this dude got a slide. He probably would have voted for Trump, bro. Like, But I do not. I never got into like leader characters or like the super good, like the Boy Scout characters. Man, like I find the other characters more interesting
for sure.
Yeah.
But I mean, just white superheroes in general. I mean, there aren't a lot of people of color that are superheroes, particularly for when we were growing up.
Exactly.
There's like a handful, maybe, but it's not enough.
Yeah, it was like Bishop from X-Men and Black Panther, I guess. Like at that time.
Storm a little bit.
Storm.
I love the shout out to Daisha McBride.
Yes.
That's great.
That's inspired by a real moment. I was literally sitting at my desk working and I took a second and got on Instagram and I saw she was on live and I got on and she was doing Pump Fake and it was exactly as I described it in the song. I was like, she had her producers, I think it's Sci-Fi and I forget who the other guy is, but on either side of her, playing the instruments, she was doing it. The sun was coming into the room. It was, and I was like, damn, I got to get back to work. You know what I mean? I got to get.
What's crazy is I didn't see that live, and I've heard this verse how many times I feel like I have.
Yeah.
It just like that verse to me is so. It paints such a vivid picture of kind of that moment. I was in the songwriting department at Belmont. It reminds me of like classic, like Paul Simon, just like in the moment, looking around and writing about the world around you. I mean, it just like really like kind of put me there. Yeah, man, I always loved that verse. Yeah. Shout out to HB Mandela too. He did a great verse on this.
Absolutely. Anything else, like lyrically? Do you want to talk about how this came to be or how the beat came from? Or
it was another Just Vibes beat. That's going to be a
running theme
throughout this,
most of the record.
Talk. Because he is just a machine that makes beats like it's nothing. Like I've sat and watched him make beats from nothing. I've looked over his shoulder and he like showed me a sample he was looking at on YouTube, and then I look away and look back and he's got the sample in FL Studio and he's done some shit to it, and you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He's just like I said about Rio, like built different, man. And so he already had that beat already fully formed. That's going to be another recurring theme.
Well, and it had that little scratch in it that says abstract in it.
The abstract, and
which is where it gets the name from.
Yes. And so if you're a Q-Tip or Tribe Called Quest fan, really lean into that hook. For some reference. You'll catch some real good Easter eggs there. That was another one that was actually you wrote most of that hook, I think, Aaron. I think I want to say you wrote most of that one, good buddy.
I did, but I can't take credit for it without giving credit to Clemens, because we just had a 6-1 Tribe session.
The D'Angelo
I'm going to spoil something here. Yeah. We have a song that no one's heard yet. It's going to be on the 6-1 Tribe record called Cruising with D'Angelo. And the way it came about is another Just Vibes beat. It was incredible. And he named the beat D'Angelo. And Corduroy Clemens was like, I have a hook for this one. He came in and he just had strung together all of these D'Angelo song titles into this amazing catchy hook. Angel Adams sang background vocals on.
With my lady.
getting higher.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the first line of the hook. Like,
it worked so well that when we sat down, we had the verses for this song, and we had the name. We knew we were going to name it Justice the Abstract, and we had the verses. I was like, well, what if we just do what Dot just did and take a bunch of Tribe Called Quest songs, titles, string them together, and make a hook out of it? I thought a lot about Calcutta had been on a big aspirations kick.
Yes.
And so, the line about
aspirations.
Yeah, man, the line about selling out the Ryman and the whole tribe climbing up is kind of coming from that. I really like, I wrote it, but I didn't, I wrote it because our friends are.
He was a vessel.
Yeah. I was a vessel for them. But yeah, man, it was cool. It was just stringing together a bunch of Tribe Called Quest songs and trying to really speak into existence kind of what we see as kind of the future.
Tip is also one of my inspirations, man. And Tribe, I actually didn't get into Tribe until I was an adult, oddly enough. But I was always a fan of Q-Tip as a solo artist and producer. And so that was like my little homage to him.
Yeah.
And because he called himself Kamal the Abstract for a little bit, and he still references himself as like the Abstract. And so that was like my little, I love you, Tip. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, man.
All right, let's go right into Room Full of Elephants.
Ooh. Chris, I'm dumb excited for this album. I really need this shit. Other songs, let's say, ain't doing it for me. I need new energy. So, you know what I'm going to need you to do? Just send me the email with the whole album right now. And, I'm happy. Like, we good, Let's go.
I break the beat down to its core elements. I'm relevant, the only presence you felt in a room full of elephants. I maneuver through rhyme patterns with elegance. A lot of niggas think that they can keep pace but lack intelligence. So don't be worried how my black ass is moving. Be more concerned with what your whack ass is doing. The only thing the boy Justice doing improving. The only thing you lames doing is losing. The hills are alive. I'm Julie Andrews with the harmony. I heard the sound of your music and audibly it was odd to me. I told these niggas they fucking with an anomaly. Innocent as a kid telling niggas they not the boss of me. And I do it totally awesomely. You probably can't understand what I'm saying, man. Do you copy me? Well, yeah, you copy me. Y'all be Xeroxing me. That's cause you niggas lame, so I guess that's what you oughta be doing with your time. Your shit ain't stimulating, nothing moving in my mind. I've been doing it just fine. I'm seeing what you doing, but our views do not align. I got that shit that make you think while you moving your behind. And hungry niggas love seeing a clean plate. Be ready to run a hater a clean fade. And Calcutta got a gig working stages for Green Day. Asked for a beat, he said most deaf like Yassine Bey.
Yo, MJ, it's Calcutta, man. Give me a call back. I got another one for your album. Hit me.
Ooh, and the beat got me mean face. So let me say, I know some ways to stay relevant in rooms full of elephants. I'm feeling benevolent. My realness is evident, the illest nigga alive. I'm feeling like the president, establishing a precedent, the top of his regiment. This shit cool to me, it's got a nigga in his element. Cause this ain't some average shit, this some savage shit. You wouldn't know cause whack niggas don't know the half of it. Fuck shaking my hand, I'd rather show you the back of it. Anybody put my name in the mud and started dragging it. I'm sliding out that bitch so extravagant. With my trousers full of so much bread, nigga be sagging shit. I'm Murray's grease, I made a wave. I could really give a fuck what a hater say. I spit the Joey crack to make them lean back like a fadeaway. I go upside your head, you catch the fade and then you fade away. They gentrifying my city while they looking for a place to stay. They talk tough on the internet, but they quiet when you face to face. The truth is a bitter dose. I know you hate the taste. They kept us silent for centuries, so yeah, we got some shit to say. If hip-hop is the game, then yeah, we finna get to play. I'm building an empire and I'm holding another brick to lay. Lame niggas sent away. Weak niggas start to pray and you would start to get tired if I told you just what I did today. I've been round the way, moving. Other side of the city, I woke up, I said, what's good with it?
Yo, man, the Black Gatsby, Negro Justice, what's up, man? It's Wizzle. How you doing down there in Nashville? I hear the album's coming along great. I can't wait to hear it, man. But yo, When you coming up, man? I know it's been tricky with the pandemic and all that kind of crazy stuff going on, but come on, man. We gotta get you some of that good lobster and stuff, that donair meat and everything. Gonna show you how we wine and dine up here in Nova Scotia. You feel me?
All right, that's a room full of elephants. Who's the intro, outro there?
So he'll have heard it, but by the time this is not, because I didn't want him to know until he hears it. This is a good friend of mine. His name is Gabe, and he's one of my buddies that I met through competitive gaming.
Yeah,
he's one of my Tekken homies. He sent me like 5 voice notes. Aaron put that one on the beginning of Room Full of Elephants, and I don't know what it is. I love his voice. And I love how that message sounds with the beat coming in behind it.
Yeah.
So it starts off, it's just him, and then the beat comes in and he's still talking. I don't know what it's like I was saying, like one of those moments. It's just, I don't know what it is about hearing that beat come in behind my friend's voice, but I love it.
Yeah.
And so, that was just one of like the 5 voice notes that he left. And so I want his like raw reaction to it, like that's why I haven't told him, because like he's one of the people that I call him my A&R. Like I send him stuff. I'm like, bro, what do you think about this? Because he's a big hip hop head.
Yeah.
He loves games, hip hop, and food, and I'm like, me too, bro. We're best friends now. Like, you know what I'm saying? We're best friends now. So he has a really good ear and he gives good feedback. So I call him my A&R. I'm like, bro, check this out. What do you think about this? And I very deliberately did not send him this song.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, I'm hoping he hears it before he hears his podcast, so he hears it and gets his raw reaction. I invited him, but he may have family in town. That's why I sent him the album already, but he's like, he actually was like, I don't know if I want to hear it yet, bro. Like, I kind of want to like experience it with you and stuff. And I'm like, man, if you don't take this motherfucking album, bro, like, if you don't take this motherfucking album, bro, you're a good friend, bro. God damn it.
Well, and going back to just like the feeling of going through all those notes, it meant a lot to me secondhand to see how many people responded to, Chris's request to do this thing, and to see the ways that they responded, and to see someone who went out of their way to be like, man, I don't really know what you want for this, but I'm going to give you as many ideas as I can come up with. I really wanted to be sure to include Gabe in this because he had gone out of his way to try so many different ideas of how to approach the prompt. Yeah, man, I love how it feels. And then who's the Nova Scotia?
Nova Scotia, so that's the homie Vidal Gabriel. He is from Halifax, Nova Scotia. But he's man, I'm a keep me honest, Vidal. I'm pretty sure I got this, but I believe he's of Jamaican descent. His family's of Jamaican descent, and they migrated to Nova Scotia. But that's him. So I actually know him through. Bruh. Y'all gonna really get to know me today, bruh. I'm a nerd. I'm a real nerd with this shit. I am a moderator on the Streets of Rage 4 Discord. So Streets of Rage 4, one of the greatest beat 'em ups of all time. I am a moderator for the Streets of Rage 4 Discord. And so he is one of the other moderators, and he also does music. He
Nice.
He makes beats, and he calls his shit Nerd Jack Swing. And I think that shit is the tightest shit. And
That's incredible.
We actually did a song together. We've actually done a couple songs together. We did a song called The Art of Storytelling, and it was a single for him. And I also put it on the first Stimulus.
Right.
That's a throwback. But and then we also did a remix of the song I wrote called As I Wanna Be, that is off of my very first EP called the Negro Justice EP, and it was actually produced by Amaze88.
Hey, back to the top.
Yeah, man. And so he wanted to do a remix of that, and he did it, and he rapped on it, and it was cool, man. And he's just the homie. So like, what I loved about his voice note is it sounded so like nostalgic, like 90s, like bad boy, like skit type, because the hip hop skit to me became kind of a lost art. Like it became, when he did that, it brought me back to that time of like interludes, voice messages, Jadakiss doing like Jay Jerkin, like, hey yo, Jay Jerkin niggas, what's up, bro? Like, yeah, I got you, gonna fly coach. It's $25 anywhere you want to go. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and so it brought me back to those times that I loved. And so another one, he came through on the voice note, man. Like, I loved it.
Yeah. Well, what about the actual track? You were saying this track has been around for a minute.
So the verses are like 3-4 years old. I actually did them, like, I remember sitting in our friend's apartment and doing them a cappella for them. Like, we have friends of ours that own a literary press, April Gloaming.
Oh yeah. I saw them at a fair thing over here in Wedgwood, Houston this weekend.
That's my homies, man.
Nice.
It's a husband and wife. They run that literary press, and we'll get to C.I. Aki. He's a spoken word poet. That he's actually the poetry editor for them. I was in their apartment doing those verses because it was inspired by them. April gloaming and like the moon phases and shit. Like I had this verse written like inspired by all that, and so here we are like 4 years later, and what I did was just basically like broke those apart because I had the room full of elephants line, and so I just kind of made that the theme of the song. And so how we put it together was Just Vibes sent me the beat. The beat that's on the first verse is a Just Vibes beat, and I said, I want to do a beat switch on this.
Yeah.
And so the second verse is a Calcutta beat, but what I did was I had Vibes send Calcutta the BPMs, the key, the samples,
Stems,
everything, and the stems, so he could build a beat using the exact same tools, but it would be his interpretation of that beat. And so that's why you have his voice note, the Calcutta voice note, doing the transition between the two beats.
Yeah.
And then his beat comes in, and I fucking love what he did with his interpretation of that beat.
For sure.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it recontextualizes the song in a big way.
Oh my, and with the fucking birds in the background, like that element is fucking crazy. And so Calcutta sent me that. I was like, nah, bruh, you didn't do that, bruh. And so went ahead and laid that down because originally we didn't have the voice note in there. And we just had me going, what was the line? And the beat got me mean face. We just had to go right into that transition. And it was Aaron's idea to put Calcutta's voice note in there to tee that up. And I think it was the right idea to kind of pause between those two and then still keep that same idea coming. Like you come back with that same melody, that same sample. And it's just this big booming beat, and it was like I called it like my Dipset shit. Like if you like go listen to Dipset Anthem and listen to Room Full of Elephants, like it wasn't on that Blueprint playlist, but it's that type of energy.
Yeah,
like
for sure. Aaron, any notes for this track?
Not really, man. I love it. It's one of those that there's no hook in it, and it's still super memorable to me. It still says a lot.
Yep.
It's another one that came a long way too. Like I'll say there are a few songs on here that like really, really evolved.
There were ones that I think we always had that standard of we didn't want anything to feel like a throwaway, so we never were that ambivalent about anything, but we felt like we kind of knew where the highlights of the records were. And then this is one is like it progressed further and further in the process. We're like, this was like etching up like the leaderboard for kind of how we feel about the songs individually. And, that Calcutta transition kind of came about for me because of like a later transition from that we'll get to going from Cherry Limeade into from
GTSH to Cherry Limeade.
Yeah, into Cherry Limeade. The just kind of like the feeling of that was something that I was trying to like push into this beat switch so that it was a little more apparent what was happening. Because you call out Cal right before his voice note.
Yes.
And it just kind of like teed up that this is the beat that he's talking about in that voicemail.
Yep.
Yeah. I don't know. Great moment on the record.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. Love that. Let's just jump into the next one. This is Prince Edward Interlude featuring Chan Tate and Amber Woodhouse.
That boy Chan Tate.
Everybody love it, what about you? Everybody love it, what about you? Don't judge the kid by the watch on the wrist, the ring on the fist, the pot that he piss. You ain't boxing the man if you heard something hot, yo, it got to be this.
Been getting crazy. What's wrong with people lately? I'm glad I wake up daily. That's all I be saying. Thank you, Jesus. Ay. On my knees like thank you, Jesus. If you take me, just bless my people. Just bless my people, now all these people saying.
Nigga having fun, man. Last name Brown like a suntan. I stay stunting like my nigga Corey Dunstan. 30 plus got the lungs like a young man. Represent my team like a front man. Couple Negroes I consider heroes. Gave me the cheat codes and I got with the program. Thinking out the box for some more bars. Beating down the block like a sports car. Let the light hit the right way. Pinky ring up, that's the North Star. Oof. Got the drip like some activator. They drawn towards me, that's a gravitator. Making words go together like a matchmaker, huh? I be rocking golds in my mouth too. Putting on for the South too. Everybody love it, what about you? Everybody love it, what about you? Don't judge the kid by the watch on the wrist, the ring on the fist, the pot that he piss. You ain't boxing them in. If you heard something high, yo, it got to be this.
Been getting crazy. What's wrong with people lately? I'm glad I wake up daily. That's all I be saying. Thank you, Jesus. Ay. On my knees like thank you, Jesus. If you take me, just bless my people. Just bless my people. Now all these people saying.
I've been in this shit for 5 years. Look at me, I'm right here. On top, I'm like, hi there. Ain't no nigga I fear. That's why I just go blind every time I see you niggas here. Man, I peeped you niggas weird. In your speakers I can hear. Rest in peace, my nanny spirit. To the sky, I hear you cheer. To my peak, I feel I'm near. This the sound of Prince Edward you hear. We the best, I know. Rap in my sleeve, my eyes closed. In front like horns on rhinos. Man, I'm so ahead of my foes.
I be rocking golds in my mouth too. Putting on for the South too. Everybody love it, what about you? Everybody love it, what about you? Don't judge the kid by the watch on the wrist, the ring on the fist, the pot that he piss. You ain't boxing them in. If you heard something high, yo, it got to be this.
Been getting crazy. What's wrong with people lately? I'm glad I wake up daily. That's all I be saying. Thank you, Jesus. Ay. On my knees like thank you, Jesus. If you take me, just bless my people. Just bless my people. Now all these people saying.
This one may be my favorite. It has remained one of my top 3, but it's currently my favorite.
I think the previous track and this track are deceptively laid back.
Yeah.
Like Room Full of Elephants, it feels like kind of a slower tempo, and then this mid-song break, and it's like, oh, this is not what I thought it was going to be. Mm-hmm. This song as well is kind of deceptively laid back. There's a super intense verse in this. Like, I don't know what's happening with the growling delivery there, but it is...
That's Chan, man.
It is intense. I mean, it's very rewarding as a listener. You're like, oh, shit.
That's my cousin, man. I'm related to him, man.
I mean, it's great. And is the title of the track a throwback to your collaborative project?
Yeah. So Chan and I are Prince Edward.
Right.
Like the two of us together are Prince Edward. That is a story from my grandmother that was one of her childhood suitors. We'll leave it at that. No, I'm kidding. She would like every time as she got older, every time she would talk about Prince Edward, she would always talk about him in the context of it was a person she went to high school with. She would talk about him like all the guys wanted to dance with Inez, was my grandmother's name. Like all the guys are like Prince Edward, and all the boys wanted to dance with Inez. I'm like, bro, is this dude my grandfather? Like, don't lie to me.
Right.
Like, don't lie to me. And so, like, you know, me and my cousins had always heard about Prince Edward all the time growing up. And then at her funeral, there was Prince Edward had left a message for her at her funeral, and they were like, yeah, he's real. I was like, oh shit, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, like I looked at my cousins who was like, bruh, like we leaned in the pew like, oh shit. Like, but yeah, so that's how we named ourselves that, Prince Edward, and that's just us just doing what we do, man. So the thing about a lot of these features, most of these features, and something that I think is important in collaborations, especially when it comes to music, is like when I collaborate with somebody, 9 times out of 10, we write the song together. When me and Slab did Resplendent, he came to my house. We went through beats. We wrote all the songs together.
Right.
Anytime me and Chan work, he comes to my house. We look through beats. We write all the songs together. And so that was the idea. That was the same approach with this. And it's interesting, like the shift in energy, because from my verse, the hook, we both perform on the hook, and then Chan's verse.
Yeah.
So I wasn't ready for any of that. even him just doing it for me at my house, I was like, oh, okay, bet. Yeah, do it just like that.
Yeah.
Like, because it creates this like such a like dynamic tonal shift that it's like shocking, but in a good way.
Yep.
Like you're not prepared for him to come with that fucking delivery over this pretty ass beat. Like you're not.
Absolutely.
Well, and especially after his half of the hook, because like the tone of his hook is completely different from the tone of his verse too, and is equally good. You know.
Yep.
The thing that I love about Chan is like so much of the chosen family concept is about non-blood family. You know, it's about that you make family in a lot of different ways. And, you know, when we were making this record, I was going through a lot of personal loss. On my end, I just lost a cousin, and Chan is, I don't know if we've explicitly said it, is Chris's cousin. He's 20.
20, yeah.
Yeah, so like there's like what, like a 14, 15 year age gap between you guys. Yeah. But they collaborate so well together.
Yeah.
And, you know, I was dealing with this loss of a cousin of mine right before we started this record. And then, you know, Chan comes in. He is the most featured hip-hop artist on this record. Amber has 4 features, but as an instrumentalist. But Chan was all over the record. Chris's cousin Kenny was, you know, at most of the sessions just hanging out as just affirmation. You know, he was just there to let Chris know that, you know, Chris is who he is and that he is good at what he does.
Yeah.
Man, chilling, moral support. Like, because me and my Chan is on my cousin on my mom's side, and Kenny is my cousin on my dad's side, and me and Kenny are the same age. And so we kind of grew up together. And so he just loves to be around it and just wants to show his support. He's the one like you've been seeing all over Twitter and Instagram, like I said,
counting down the record.
I said like he is the countdown. Like I know Instagram has a countdown feature, but like my cousin's taking care of it. You know what I'm saying? So that's my man. We reconnected at my pop's funeral, and ever since we've been back tight. Like we never were like at odds or anything. We just, you know, we were going through our own stuff independently, and like, you know, and then because we were very close growing up, we went through our separate stuff and we reconnected as adults, and it's just a beautiful thing to have my cousin back in my life. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
that's great. But I mean, so much of the what I see in Chris and the chosen family thing is just that, like, you know, as family come and go through your life. You know, he talks about having lost his grandmother and lost his dad. There are other family members that he has formed bonds with kind of through those moments that are now just as important to him, you know, that are a new family structure, and getting to be like a witness to that, especially with this cousin that was so much younger than him growing up, and seeing him kind of reaching back and kind of giving him a place in this space with all these other, you know, Nashville hip hop kind of contemporaries. Even getting Chan on Resplendent with Gee Slab, you know, it just
he was
like
the only feature on Resplendent.
Yeah, it like for me means a lot as someone that is kind of like navigating that in real time, to kind of see how it is settled for someone, you know, a few years removed from those moments of loss, to kind of see how the family just restructured around that into a new, tighter unit. Man, it's cool.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's a beautiful thing.
Hell yeah.
From there, we'll just... I gotta point out the Sonic sample. I love it. I love the Sonic sample.
Hey, pinky ring. That's the North Star. Bring.
I hear it all the time at gas stations now, and it drives me insane.
They don't know what they're doing to us, man. With like people that came up playing games and playing Sonic, like I hear that, I'm like,
gotta go fast.
I'm like, what's happening back behind the counter that I'm not seeing?
If I spend $100, do I get an extra life, bro? That's like 100 coins, 100 rings. You feel me?
I just had to call it out. We don't have to dwell on it. I appreciate it.
Another big shout out to Amber Woodhouse. The sax solo at the end of this,
unbelievable.
Much like the beginning of No Throwaways, is just such a remarkable moment. I mean, really, we knew we wanted that I knew when I heard the beat and I heard how the beat kind of dissipated into this real ethereal pad at the end. I was like, what if we just have someone solo over it and bring in a musician as kind of another moment? Had no idea what she could do in like the last 20 seconds of a song to elevate it as much as she did. It's incredible.
Yeah, I mean, my notes, I have sax solo written in all caps, spaces between each letter, just like grabbed me. Holy shit moment.
Yes, sir.
Incredible.
Absolutely loved it.
Incredible.
Yeah, for sure. So Amber Woodhouse, don't sleep on Amber Woodhouse.
Absolutely not.
Unbelievable.
Amber Woodhouse, man.
All right, now we're going to hear Don't Let Them Erase You featuring C.I. Aki.
Yes, sir.
Hey, what's up, Chris? This is C.I. Sorry I missed your call. I just want to hit you back up. You know, want to leave you a little something I've been thinking to share with you. So I'm just going to drop it here in the message. Don't let them erase you. You're writing rivers that run for centuries. Rivers that run for centuries of so much soul. Your soul, our soul, all that is soul. Rivers that run for centuries of all that is you. All that has been running. All that will run for centuries more. Don't let them erase you. You are riding rivers that run beyond their races. Rivers more than races. Rivers that run. Running rivers. Running rivers of you. Running rivers of us. Running rivers of all that is soul. Bruh, don't let them erase you. You're riding rivers. Rivers that will run for centuries. Mahalo.
That was Don't Let Them Erase You featuring C.I. Aki. Another quality message there. I mean, poetry, absolute poetry. You're writing rivers that run for centuries. Like, just a statement on legacy and, like, being around.
Again, he delivered on every level. So C.I. Aki is a friend of a friend. So I mentioned my friends that have the literary press, April Gloaming. And so they actually published his book of poetry. His book is called The World, Black, Beautiful, and Beast, and it's a poetry book. And I read it, and I read about half of it. And it's literally like, you could probably read it in an hour, but I've only read that much because I really want to like
soak it in
and focus. Yeah. And so I actually had read about half of it, and I asked him to do a piece that was in that book. I went over to his house. He made him and myself and some friends of his dinner, made us cocktails, and he was doing a reading of a poem from his book, and he wanted to shoot a video for it for New Year's and everything. So I helped him with that. And then I asked him if he wanted to be on the album to do a spoken word piece, and he said he would. And so we finally link up. He comes in, he does this, and instead of doing the piece I asked him to do, he actually wrote an original piece, which ended up being Don't Let Them Erase You. Because what I did was I sent him the album, you know, it was
in its current
form,
its state at the time.
Got it.
Yeah. And he said, yeah, I'm getting kind of like a vibe of like, don't let them erase you. Like, I'm going to do some original stuff. And so we had him come in and do it. He recorded it. And then, correct me if I'm wrong, Aaron, we put it to a metronome and sent it to Just Vibes.
Well, we talked about putting it to a metronome, but we wanted it to feel more organic than that. We looked up MF Doom type beat on YouTube.
No, you didn't.
And we dropped in just this real mellow kind of like jazz hop beat for him to do it over, and then I found the BPM of that, sent the reference to Just Vibes.
Okay.
And I told him, you know, this is what we used as a reference, this is the BPM, and then I sent him just the blank vocal, and he created a new beat. Yeah.
So he actually sent two versions of that song. There were two different beats, and I had actually heard both of them because he had sent me those beats before, just as like, I was like, hey bro, you got any beats? He was like, yeah, here's like 30 beats, you know what I mean? Because he's like that, like, you know. And so I hit Aaron up. I was like, which one do you like? I'm like, I like them both, but I think I like this one better. I'm like, yeah, me too. Okay. And so that was it.
Fantastic. Love the horns. Love just the vibe of the whole song.
Yeah, he did
it's
all
great.
that. The water, the like running water you hear in the back, like the river, like a creek.
Yeah,
all that stuff. Yeah, that's
amazing.
all. Like we didn't. Again, that was all Corey. That was all just vibes. We didn't do anything to that.
Sorry, I was gonna say, are we making a commercial for Just Vibes? Because we should be.
This whole record is a commercial for Just Vibes.
This record is amazing.
This record exists because Corey is who he is. You know.
Yeah, and
I like as much time and effort as we put into this, and as much as we gave to it. Corey's right there with us, man. And like. Just the way that you guys linked up, you know, he was literally trying to give away these beats to people.
I was about to tell him because talking about how Michael organically discovered me through Bandcamp, Just Vibes organically discovered me through Instagram. He saw one of my posts or something, and he was tapped into the Nashville hip hop scene in the fact that he was aware of it, but he wasn't like. He is now,
right?
To where he's got
connected to it at all.
10,000 hours with 4 premier Nashville hip hop artists. But so he just like hit me up and on Instagram, man, randomly, and I was like, "Yo, what's up, bro?" He was like, I really did. I think it was like right around when Resplendent came out. Like he loved what we was doing with that, and I was like, "Bro, send me some beats." Like, and that was it. And there was like a period of time when we were working on this album where I was just like sending him a stipend every week. I was like, I'll drop a little bag off for you. Just keep sending me beats, bro. Like,
that's incredible. I just needed that opportunity.
Yeah. And now, now he's locked in and everybody knows how good he is. Like, and they're gonna know more when this comes out. And they're gonna know more when this other 6'1" Tribe shit comes out. Like, I can't talk about that guy enough, man. He's a great dude on top of that. Like he brings great energy. He's a lot of fun to be around. He has a passion for it. Like he loves the look on my face when I hear a beat I like. You know what I mean? Or like the expression I make or the sound I make. You know what I mean? Like
right.
He that resonates with him so much, and I'm like that too. Like I think about watching YouTube videos of like Busta Rhymes when he hears a beat he loves. And Busta Rhymes has been in the game for like 30 years, but he still like loses his mind like a little kid when he hears a beat he loves. And that's how I am.
Yeah.
And so like Vibes brings that. He brings that energy to it. So.
Yeah. I mean, energy is everything, going back to like how I felt about you in that first Resplendent session, is the same with Corey. And I feel like the three of us just feed off each other's energy. Yeah. Like I know how to take what Corey is trying to do and elevate it into where he wants it to go. Mm-hmm. And then we know that you can run with that and kind of fill it out and turn it into the finished product. And the reactions that we get from each other when like, you hear Corey's
stank
faces. Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean, it just like we creatively feed each other in this kind of like feedback circle that just keeps the momentum going. It's really special to be around.
That's the thing we were talking about too, how like not everybody can be around that part of the process. Like you talk about mixing and mastering and stuff, making a beat is just like that.
Oh yeah.
It's like
very repetitive.
It's like the same 4-bar segment while I try to figure out a sample for like, but I'm like, fuck that. Y'all keep going. I love it. I have what I need to write now. Y'all just keep making it sound good. Like, you know, and so I'm in there just writing while they're cooking up, and it's awesome.
No, that's amazing. Yeah. I love to hear that. Yeah. Sounds like some incredible energy.
I was like, dude, they'll have it like 1-2 tracks on the thing, and I'm like, fucking send me that.
I'm ready.
Like, that's all I need. Like, I was like, that's all I need. Yeah, it's like a drum and a fucking hi-hat. Send me that shit right now. Like,
amazing.
Yeah, man.
All right, let's dive into the Conquerors featuring Gee Slab.
Mr. Slab. Slabbington.
Negro Justice. The Shogun has summoned you for a battle. Think you have bars? Bring your ass to the designated place at the designated time so I can designate your ass for humiliation. Also, tell Sue to come pick up this dry cleaning. It's been here for about 3 days. Shogun out.
Running through the game gave me callous. Rolled to the challenge, I was planted in cement. Double up the status, I've been macking since a jit. New extension on the strap, I adapted to the switch. Used to be average, now I average the assist. I gave niggas looks and they mad they couldn't hit. Wow. I told my nigga Negro we were superheroes. Red or blue pill, either way I'm Neo. I'm the one that didn't fold from the pressure. Told me be grateful, I ain't supposed to be special. I danced with the devil, 2 left feet on me. Then I skated through this bitch like Gretzky Novi. I used to want to end it, give it all away. Put a 9 to my chest like McNair and throw it all away. Oh, now we bout to ball till they call a play. And everything right there, one call away.
I got a hustler spirit, nigga, period. Check my swag, yo, peep the way I wear it. Check my chain, yo, peep the way it's glaring. Every minute of time I learn to cherish, cause gold flow from my larynx. Nigga flow is apparent, my auntie's more like a parent. And peep the clothes that I'm wearing. I'm flyer than a motherfucker, now I see why you're staring. Now I see why you're doubting yourself, cause you keep comparing yourself to me, the coolest nigga alive. I'm at the crib chillin', I'm faded catching a vibe. Solange a seat at the table, I'm bumping cranes in the sky. I'm solid under pressure, the difference between you and I know you want my downfall, I know you seek my demise. This shit is like a revival, I'm living through every line. Ain't worked as hard to quit, you should know that I ain't that guy. I got the soul of champions, nigga, look in my eyes. Used to be suicidal, but nigga, it's not my time. Nigga, it's not my time. Nigga, it's not my time. I used to be suicidal, but nigga, it's not my time. And if they said I ain't the greatest, then damn, they told you a lie.
All right, that's the Conquerors featuring Gee Slab. I think this marks the back half of the record, which I think is very subtly clear with the tape effect. Right at the start of that song, it's like a little bit of a tape sort of warming up or winding up. Maybe that's a reference to other collaborations you've done where there are other tape effects. But I think it's also the intensity changes here on this track from what we've been hearing. It's great. Love it. Like, coming into the back half of the record, if this was a vinyl record, this is totally side B. The Samurai Showdown intro, Shogun, amazing. Love it to death. I love the references to superheroes, the red and the blue pill reference.
Yeah.
The Cranes in the Sky reference, big fan. And there's just an incredible rising intensity to your verse that, like, I was just locked in listening to this. Like, I've listened to this several times prior to our podcast here, but that particular verse, I'm just like, holy shit, how far is this going to go? And it just keeps going. It's great.
Yeah.
Very well done. It's good to see you and Slab back together on a track too.
And it's not the end.
Man.
He'll show up again in a couple of minutes if you stick around.
Stick around. Any insights onto the creation and recording of this one?
Again, this was one me and Slab wrote together. This is another Just Vibes beat. So the thing about this one is Slab actually had 2 verses for this beat. And he did one on a promo he was doing. I forget the group that it was a part of, but he did it, and he told me he was doing that, and he said he was still ready with the verse on it. And I said, as long as you still reference having suicidal thoughts on that on your verse, is cool. Like, because I was like that was the Conquerors is the idea of us beating that.
Yeah.
And so and he was like, don't worry, I got you. And so he did that, and he shouted me out when he did the original verse he had, and he let me know he was gonna come and do that. And so my verse never changed. It was one that I had written for a while, another one that's probably been around not quite as long as that Room Full of Elephants verse, but around the same time. And so I actually had written it to another beat, and when I heard what Slab was doing on his verse, I was like, oh, okay. Like I was about to write something. I was like, no, I got something.
Yeah,
I got something in the tuck for this. Yeah, like you mentioned the Cranes in the Sky. I love that you caught that because I'm a big Solange fan. That Seat at the Table album is amazing. And Cranes in the Sky is about trying to get out of the mud. You know what I mean? It's I tried to drink it away. I tried to smoke it away. I tried to dance it away. All this stuff. And so, that was very deliberate. Yeah. Like I had that written for another thing, but when I heard, I was like, oh no, this is for this. Yeah.
Aaron, any insights from you on this particular track?
I don't really remember when we did this. I just know that the chemistry between Chris and Slab in the Resplendent EP was great. And we knew that part of this was going to be trying to continue that relationship.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly, this is one that we wrote together, but we did not record together. I think we did these separate.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah.
I get confused because Slab came back and redid his verse. I don't remember the first session.
I'm almost positive that we recorded our verses separately, but we did write it together.
But yeah, I just echoing a lot of the same thoughts and going back to some stuff I said earlier about feeling like this record and, all the artists on this. Kind of going back to something I said earlier, I just feel like the Nashville hip-hop scene, for me, does a really good job of breaking down misconceptions of the types of people that make hip-hop music. You know, there is no one type of person that makes hip-hop, and that is never really more apparent to me than when Slab is in the studio. I think that he gives off this aura of being just like an inherently big guy and kind of an intimidating guy, but writes some of the most just like emotionally vulnerable hip hop that comes out of the city. I feel like the stuff that he's writing these days is incredible. Is gonna.
I think the word you just used there, vulnerable, is the secret sauce.
Yeah,
I think there's a songwriting ability and a vulnerability to a lot of the hip hop artists in Nashville that is like willing to put their experience out into the world. That I don't know if it's happening in other scenes or if it's indicative of hip hop in general, but I think it's very special to the Nashville scene in general. I'm not saying it's exclusive to the Nashville scene, but I think it's a great skill that a lot of the hip hop artists here have.
Yeah, I definitely, I don't want to claim it. It happens everywhere. There are hip hop artists in Chicago and Atlanta and New York that I all think, try and tackle talking about depression and more like vulnerable topics, like kind of topics that traditionally are like anti-masculine that you don't bring up. That I think this record and just a lot of Chris and Slab's writing and kind of the whole hip-hop scene in Nashville in general, kind of with hustle culture comes confronting depression, confronting kind of a feeling of worthlessness as you were like aspiring for something that hasn't happened yet. And there's a lot of that comes to the surface in the writing that I think is just really special and really like universal.
Yeah.
That far transcends the lived experiences of like the people that are talking about it.
Yeah. Absolutely.
You got it, bro. Nailed it.
All right, let's
good job, Aaron.
Let's transition into the first single from the record, right?
GTSH, baby. Vibes was good, nigga. Yeah. Oh man, I told you we wrote the mini-series on these motherfuckers, didn't I? Okay. He like peace, that's cause he a Pisces, but still lift a hype beast out of they Nikes. He never learned how to handle the bike speed, but still know how to move at the right speed. He be cold chillin', personality type B. Got game like that nigga was Spike Lee. His little cousins wanna play the game. They asking me nicely, it was green juice, we drinking that high C. Then it was flaming hot Cheetos, bro, them bitches was spicy. Get me and Brev off the sticks, that shit is unlikely. Cause they was in rotation, PlayStation was too. It's back in the day shit, the PlayStation was too. NBA Jam Sega shit, we playing that too. Break to the kitchen, we was making a move. Hoping Nanny don't wake while we taking the food. Knowing damn well when she wakes, she gon' be making us food. I'm talking so much the plate can't hold the weight of the food. And you know our black asses love the taste of the food. Various ages, man, our greatness is true. Then we shoot to auntie crib like we was So we shoot to auntie crib like we engaged in a duel. Safe to say niggas was paying they dues. I'm non-violent, but you cross blades with the crew. I got ways to put your face on the news, and I don't give a fuck if I messed up. Hey, cuz, what's poppin', bro? What's good with it?
Good. Hey, Buster, you trying to hop on this NBA jam for the one time?
Bruh, you know it's been a little minute since we got on that jam, bro, but hey.
You know what they used to call us back in the day,
Undefeatables.
Greatest to ever do it. They said he had Ray Allen in the corner, Larry Bird up top. Couldn't stop us, ever.
He made it his mission to pay attention, made the realization whoever made him, they made him different. His hair getting gray cause he got the wisdom, cause he got the vision. He see the horizon off in the distance. Fast forward, now my cousin got his own crib. We broke it in proper blueberry vodka. The
right kind of shit to align your chakras. Them little niggas, my brothers, sisters, my partners, they my army, they my shotters. Hard body, terracotta, it's some niggas only adjacent to greatness. They Ron Harper. I done seen some stranger things like Hopper. I changed the whole arc with one stroke of a marker. I understand it's a stretch, Mr. Fantastic. I silver surf on the track like it was magic. I treat the beat like a poetry slam, I'm snapping. It's all good, you know stunting is a habit. I got this shit honest, look who my dad is. I got this shit honest, look who my dad is. I said stunting is a habit, so I got this shit honest, you know, look who my dad is.
Hey buddy, this is your auntie. When you pick up Sydney, can y'all go by the house and put my trash can and my recycle bin back by the side of the house and kind of walk around the house and make sure ain't nothing going on with it. All right, talk to you later. Bye.
Okay. Let's bitch warm up for a second. Okay. Yeah. Oh, that's my shit. Let me turn that bitch up. Hold on. One more time, one more time. Give me a sign, baby. Yeah. I love that shit, bro. Ooh, okay, hold on. Let me turn back. Oh, shit.
All right, that was GTSH. That's the first single. You all have heard that song by now. You all who have made it this far into the podcast that understand the archival nature of this, you've heard GTSH because it was the first single. I love the verse redo with the tape scramble, just like, don't give a fuck if I mess up, like acknowledging the thing that happens in the song. It's a little meta. It's great.
Yeah.
Completely unintentional. I really like there was a line there because it was the
original line.
Shoot to Auntie's house, like
we shoot to Auntie's crib.
Something about a pool.
Yeah, so we can wade in the pool because we would go to my aunt's house to use her swimming pool because they have one in her neighborhood.
Yeah, and then shoot to Auntie's house like we're engaged in a duel.
Yeah, so that was just a little wordplay, but I fucked it up one time, didn't I? Like, I legitimately
he nailed it every other time, but he fucked it up in this one take, and then at the end of that take said, and I don't give a fuck if I messed up.
Wow.
And I was like, that's cooler than what we were actually trying to do.
Yeah,
so we just left it. It was just kind of this like organic moment. Everyone always tells Chris in the studio, your fuck ups sound intentional. They're like, I didn't realize that you were stopping that take because the way you mess up, it doesn't sound like a car crash. It sounds like a skit that's just happening in the middle of your song that's supposed to be there.
Yeah.
And so it was something that we kept hearing from people in these sessions that when it happened organically, we're like, let's just leave it. I mean, I thought the original line was great, but I thought that moment was something that like we couldn't have scripted and pulled off as well as it felt just happening organically.
Had that been scripted, I think it would have felt weird.
Well, that noise he makes, that blah, 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 is like just what he did in the studio. And then he just kept going and nailed the next line. It just happened that way. And we're like, that's perfect. People always say it sounds like it's supposed to be there. So it's supposed to be there. Let's leave it in.
So like when people started to tell me that, it became like a little homage to Action Bronson because he's one of my favorite rappers, and he has these like talk about like world building and continuity. Like he has these songs that he titles them the date that they're recorded, and the date is always September 24th. So the first one is 9/24/11, then there's 9/24/13, and then there's one more. But in each one, it's just it's a beat. He's just rapping, and if he fucks up, and he talks about it, and he keeps rapping,
going.
And it's all one continuous take. And I always thought, and it was like hilarious. He's like, he's a chef, or he's like, I bought the chopped beef from the blah 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 blah. Like, and he just fucked it up, and then he kept going. He like laughs it off and keeps going, and he murders his fucking verse. And I was like, hey, that's my little action, unintentional Action Bronson reference or homage. So.
It's great. And it's a great first single, too. Wise choice there.
Yes, sir.
Very insane beat on that one.
Well, and a lot of, like, Blood Family in the voice clips, too. Because you've got...
That's my cousin in the... so that's the second youngest... No, maybe after Chandler, after Chan Tate. And talking about how we used to play NBA Jam, and me and him were the Undefeatables. That's what we were called. Because... we could not be fucked with. And so we would play NBA Jam, and we would pick Larry Bird and Ray Allen, and we would shoot threes like it was going out of style. And we would destroy people. And it wasn't until they figured out that LeBron James is broken in that game that they could beat us.
No. And then the auntie that you reference in verse 1 is the ending voice note too. Is she not?
Actually,
or is
no.
it different?
No. The auntie that I reference is a different auntie, but the voice note at the end is my auntie.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, that one, the reason we picked it as the first single, I felt like that was the one that most embodied the blood family side of what Chris was talking about on this record in terms of just like, the restructured like family hierarchy of kind of like, and both just like growing up around a really like tight-knit family, and then how those relationships have evolved as they've grown up.
It was deliberate in that in the Conquerors I say my aunties are more like a parent. And so having this come right after with my aunt's voice note at the end was deliberate, and because that like and I'll talk about it later on the album, but like I've like an estranged relationship with my mother, and so when the two of us stopped talking, I leaned on them because they were always there for me, like and I have a big family. My mom has 4 other siblings, so it's like it was never like it was a single parent type thing. Like it was very much like a community, like a village type atmosphere in raising me. And that word village was the term I kept coming back to when I was talking to Aaron about the album. It's like, and that's why you see the feature list, like all these people that are both blood and non-blood, like non-traditional family present. Like I wanted their voices present on the album because that's what they are to me.
Yeah,
yeah,
for sure. I mean, I think that falls right in line with chosen family.
Yes, sir.
If you think about like the nuclear family in heavy quotes, there's a lot more outside of that,
right?
And the first real reference to like your dad on the record too at the end of I got the shit honest, like who my dad is. Yeah. And that was just something that really like meant a lot to me too.
I get
entering our 30s and kind of realizing the ways that we're kind of becoming like
I get a lot of my swag from my dad, man, and it's just crazy. Like you don't realize it till you start to get older and you get more insightful and like introspective, and you're like, oh wait, no,
you can kind of like three-dimensionalize them beyond just a parent into like who they were as a person.
As a person, it's like, oh, I really did get this shit from him. Like,
all right, well, let's transition to Cherry Limeade again with Amber Woodhouse.
Resilience is my middle name. Feeble attempts to crush my spirit all did in vain. Niggas tripping off a little fame. I look at that shit and I chuckle, moving on to bigger things. I went to New Mexico, wife my shorty up. I promise I'ma still be trying to when she 40 plus. 50 and 62, please don't get confused, man, don't get my shit misconstrued. Let me find out, I just helped Stella reclaim the groove. 2-step in the spin, baby, I made the move. It's a lot of people faking the funk, like I'm the type of nigga you can take for a chump. I'ma only say this shit once, I knew you haters was fake from the jump. I've been relaxing in the spot with a little shade from the sun. My thoughts been getting deep like they taking a plunge. I felt the whole range of emotions in the space of a month. Used to bury them, but lately I'm prepared to confront. My wifey rock her bangs like a punk. I ask her what she want from Sonic, man, I'm making a run. Hey honey, I'm finna wrap up at the studio. I'm gonna stop by Sonic on the way home. You want me to pick you up anything?
Yes. Could you get me a soft pretzel and a cherry limeade?
Cherry limeade, I knew it. All right, no problem. I got you. All right, we're finna do one.
All right, thanks, honey.
Yep, I'm finna do one more take and then we're gonna be on our way.
Okay, see ya.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye.
Vibes did that transition too, because it's a similar sample in GTSH as this Cherry Limeade beat. So I said, make them run together.
Yeah, make it work.
Yeah.
So both of these were done like back to back and intentionally sort of bridged together?
They weren't done back to back initially. It's just that
when Chris heard him, he saw the potential to do that.
I heard like it was the same. It was either the same or a very similar I don't know if it's the drum sample or what the element is that is similar, but I was like, no. These, like, I was like, dude, because both of them are just vibes beats. I was like, dude, can you just like make these connect in some kind of way? I was
and so he,
because I got something for this. Like,
yeah, we talk about adding a lot of the transition stuff kind of after the fact, getting the beats and kind of figuring out how we want to put them together. But Corey did the whole soundscaping with the car, with Chris getting in to like go and check on his aunt's house and turning on the tape and hearing this beat before it actually kicks in. Corey scripted all of that as a way to like bridge the two songs to play into each other.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Is this a real request from Sonic, or is this staged?
It is. So yes,
both. Yes,
it is both a real request because that is what she would.
That is her order.
But that was like she was in the studio with us, and we did that there. But that is her. That is like if we're not getting a meal, that is her Sonic order.
I mean, it's a great Sonic order.
Them soft pretzels, banging. Like
honestly, never had it, but I might go tonight.
Next time, listen. It is half off Sonic Blast today. I know this ain't gonna matter to the listener when you hear this, but I'm telling this for the people in the room. When I leave here, I'm getting my wife a Sonic Blast. No, I don't know if they're on sale, whatever she need, bro. As long as it's half off, I'm buying it. And that's that.
I don't know how much there is to say about this track. I really love it. I love the horns. The sax is like continuously incredible. Resilience is my middle name. Really stuck out to me. And of course, cherry limeade. That's good. It's a good order.
Love it.
Well, yeah, and I mean, shout out to Sean, his wife. She, is really just like, I loved having a moment of acknowledging her on the record too. You know, so much of this was about kind of like your family, your blood family, but marrying Sean, having a moment to talk about that on the record, and really like give her flowers, and this was cool too.
Hell yeah, man!
It meant a lot to me.
Mexico, wife my shorty up. Yeah, we really went on a road trip to New Mexico and got married in Albuquerque, bro.
Yeah.
That shit was awesome. No, I mean she just been super supportive of the music and the grind and the hustle. She's been to several of the studio sessions.
Yeah,
that's my boo.
Yeah,
man.
Well, shout out to her for having a quality Sonic order.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, you already know.
All right, let's listen to Folks Out Here featuring Chan Tate and Amber Woodhouse.
Uncle Chris, good job on the music. I can't wait to see you and Sean. I'm gonna beat you in Mario Kart.
A lot of folks out here ain't got the mind for this, or the time for this, or the grind for this. A lot of folks out here don't know what time it is. They try to silence this. Go ahead and mind your biz. Make ends meet, don't meet you in. This shit keep me from going off the deep end. I've been reading, thinking, and speaking. Ain't nothing to let my cousin stay at my crib for the weekend. My nigga in the cut, rolling up a masterpiece. Make a halo out the smoke like I'm Master Chief. Don't ask my shooter how many points he be averaging, unless you wanna find out the hard way. Family legacy shit, Tim Hardaway. Nobody in the game can guard me. No weapon form can harm me. The squad built like an army.
Someone tell me why Chente so underrated. These TikTok rappers blowing up, man, all them niggas basic. But fuck it, I'm done talking about it, they gon' say I'm hating. But look at all my sons, look at all these cheering I'm making. They left the spot for the throne, so best believe that I'ma take it. Let's face it, I'm with all these rappers steady chasing. I'm greatness, you asking can you get up on my level? Shit, maybe. Little niggas stay patient, spit this gas and buddy laced it. Yeah.
A lot of folks out here ain't got the mind for this, or the time for this, or the grind for this. A lot of folks out here don't know what time it is. They try to silence this. Go ahead and mind your
this shit
biz.
ain't arrogance, it's confidence. I'm the best in the world, let alone just on my continent. First verse, cuz set me up, my nigga tossing shit. Now I'm a pan back in my assist, nigga, I'm tossing it.
Oof. Now you open like Jordan teammates. Nigga fancy as a cheese plate. Nigga dripping like a cheesesteak. A nigga winning, that's a sweepstakes. Gotta spend money to make money like a rebate. Some niggas crooked with the vision, they can't see straight. I know I'm going to the function, just might be late. On niggas' head like a fitted 738s. Did an interview, I'm in a magazine. Me and Slab in the Nashville scene. Paint pictures vivid, resplendent was the image. And front to back, it was gasoline. Remember when this rap shit was nothing more than a lavish dream, playing in my mind with my body rest on a mattress spring? Now I'm fly as a dragon wing. Drake it till I make it. I can rap, but I can't act or sing. But give me some time, man. Just give me some time. I said, give me some time, baby. Yeah. And give me some time, baby. A lot of folks out here ain't got the mind for this, or the time for this, or the grind for this. A lot of folks out here don't know what time it is. They try to silence this. Go ahead and mind your biz. A lot of folks out here ain't got the mind for this, or the time for this, or the grind for this. A lot of folks out here don't know what time it is. They try to silence this. Go ahead and mind your biz.
All right, let's be as upfront about this as possible. That is an adorable message. Yeah. That is a straight up adorable message.
I'm going to ruin the adorableness for it.
Why?
Because I'm going to tell him that you beat that kid's ass in Mario Kart.
I didn't. Listen, I had every intention of beating his ass in Mario Kart. He ducked me.
That's right. He wasn't up for it.
He ducked me.
Too tired. Too tired.
You challenged him, but
he challenged Chris.
So that's
Chris called his bluff.
Yeah, that's my little nephew, bro. That's my best friend's son. He's 4. He'll be 5 in August this year.
Yeah.
And so I told him to do a voice note for me, and he recorded that. And he said he's going to beat me in Mario Kart. I said, "Oh, okay."
He didn't know.
No. I went to his house. I went to his home. I said, "I heard you was talking trash at Mario Kart. Run it. Run them hands." But he was like, "Oh, I'm tired. I don't know if I feel like." I'm like, I came all the way here to beat your ass.
I drove here for you.
Ducked you.
I told his mom, I was like, seeing y'all was cool and everything, but I really came to beat his little ass in Mario.
That's how great gamers are made.
Yeah, dude.
You gotta get beat as a kid to know how hard you gotta work to come back.
10,000 hours.
It's like a grandmaster in chess. Dude, you know, it's like playing the unbeatable chess guy.
It's kung fu. It's like I'm a grandmaster, bro.
Mm-hmm.
I have to show them.
You have to show them the path to their own excellence.
Yeah,
you know, only the strong survive.
To this day, I take credit for my cousin being an intense competitor because when he was a child, I would throw fireballs at him in Street Fighter until he cried.
That's cruel.
Yeah.
Just cruel.
Yeah.
Literally forged by fire.
Yeah. No. He couldn't have been more than 10 years old. Block or neutral jump, bro. Like, what do you want me to, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not talking about like competitive strats. And he's 10.
I'm sure he learned.
Walk forward and block.
Oh, yeah.
Walk forward and block.
I really love this song.
This is one of my favorites.
Several examples throughout this track of like just phenomenal lyrical contributions. Like there's one, it's about the delivery, and I meant to mention this at the very top, but the lyrics on the album are solid, but lyrics are half of the story. Like the delivery is a huge part of it. And there's so much of this, like there's one moment in here where you say, "Mind your biz." Yeah. And there's something, I can never emulate it, but there's like this sly boastfulness, but it's kind of coy and it's playful, but it's also like, no, mind your biz.
Mind your
like it's
business.
Serious, but it's also like
grown folks are talking.
Is that same energy as the no throwaways hook that take a corny ass and go play is just confidence and swagger kind of concoction that just comes off as like someone that knows enough about themselves that they don't even have to like exert the effort to correct somebody.
I'd love to hear more about like where this came from, but there's more than any other song in this record for me. There's a call and response with yourself that happens a lot throughout this track that I don't really hear on other tracks as much. And there's even sort of like a challenge to yourself where you say something about like, I can't fake that I can't sing, or I can't sing. You kind of like downplay yourself that you can't do this thing, and then moments later you do it. I'd like to hear how this song came to fruition, because there is a lot happening with you as the narrator throughout this that's very fascinating.
This song was some of the most fun we had. Don't get me wrong, the whole album was fun to make, but this was some of the most fun we had because, again, me and Chan wrote this song together. We both loved the beat, another Just Vibes beat. And when we recorded it, we actually kind of did it like dueling piano style. So, and I think I told you about that because I sent it to you on Instagram when we were doing it, and you were like, "What's going on?" And I'm like, "Yeah, we're doing this shit. He's over there in that booth, and I'm over here, and we're recording." So like there's two booths, and Aaron had it set up to where Chan was in the other booth, and I was in this, and we could see each other. We could play off each other as we were recording it together, and so we did that. And it turned out really good. Like, I don't know what else to say. As far as like, this was one that like, when we wrote it, I'll say we recorded it, the initial version, right? And I had my cousins up just to hang out, and we had a little listening party, and I played this for them, and they lost their minds. Like, they could not handle it. Like they love the beat, they love the lyrics. My cousin Brevin, the one that calls me on GTSH about the NBA Jam and stuff, he was like, I knew you were gonna say Tim Hardaway. As soon as you said learn it the hard way, I knew you were gonna say Tim Hardaway. They just ate it up, man. And I was really just having fun with the lyrics and being playful. Again, part of those verses were lyrics that I had already that I expanded on and fleshed out into a full, complete idea. And as far as the delivery and the structure, me and Chan are both people that love, like, one of our favorite things in hip hop is when people trade bars on a verse. Yeah. And so, like, even if it's just something as simple as like me doing 8 bars and then Chan doing it, like him coming in, someone tell me why Chan takes so underrated, like him as I'm finishing my line, like him coming in right behind me was just like landing, like hitting the ground running and going in. Like, I love moments like that in hip hop, and we both do. And so, like, that's the thing about us together. Even though there's that huge age gap, we both have a lot of things that we love about hip hop that we share. And so it's like we love to create those moments in our own music. Mm-hmm. And so this is just like a spectacular example of that.
For sure.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Chan being so much younger than everybody else on the record, and kind of like not, I don't want to say inexperienced, but, you know, newer to this than everybody, kind of like still figuring out what he wants to do, what he wants his style to be. I just felt like his confidence on this was equally magnetic, you know. I felt like he played off that energy and that swag that you had in a way that, like, you both were just so braggadocious without saying, without calling anyone out or trying to like downplay anyone else, but really being confident in who you are, and just like his ability to match your energy in that was so cool for me.
That's the thing about Chan is like he'll and all my cousins do this. I don't know if it's just something with their generation, like, and I'll give them shit about it all the time. I'm the type of person, obviously I love music, right? So like when I'm sharing music with someone, like I'm constantly checking like their reaction to see if they're like into it or not. And like I'll be playing a song for my cousins and they are just like stone faced, bro. Like they just like no emotion. And I'm like, bro, do y'all just hate this shit? Like we can play something else. Like, you know what I mean? Like you don't gotta suffer through this shit. But then like later they'll be like, bro, what was that shit you was playing in the car? That shit was, I'm like, you motherfuckers, like why didn't you say that shit? I'm over here having a panic attack thinking y'all don't like my music. Like
feeling like the old man in the room.
Exactly, bro. Like and so and Chan kind of brought that energy to this. So like he would come over to the house to write, and he's very like, Chan is very reserved until he's not.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's where his personality comes through. You hear it on the song, you hear it on that, you hear it on Prince Edward Interlude.
For sure.
You know what I mean? So that's him.
Probably a force to keep an eye out on.
100%. You know how these young boys do. We're trying to get him out here and I hope he hear this podcast, hear me calling his ass out. We're trying to get him to the damn studio to get him to lay some shit down. Aaron's ready. We're ready. Chan, come on, man.
All right, great transition. Here we go with George Jefferson Strut featuring Gee Slab, Corduroy Clemens, and F.U. Stan.
And try to make sense of it with fancy analogy. Floating through the void, your boy out the galaxy. Meditate and conversate with Pops, I know he proud of me. Made a son out of anyone that would challenge me. Even in your wildest dreams, you can't amount to me. Niggas was in the mud, I heard them call out to me. George Jefferson Strut, the city showing out for me.
Running through the game, burning calories. Bird's eye view, watch the game from a canopy. The package being stamped and is wrapped in some plastic. Never gave a fuck about a rapper or they status. They average, they suckers, and I'm sicker than these niggas making magic. Chris Paul setting up the shot, this the standard. This shit go hard, this dick ain't free. Tip my jaw, flip my collar, inshallah.
When you're moving on up to the east side, mind your manners. Food for thought. When I drop, mine is manna. A gift from God, alhamdulillah. I was penny pinching, now I give you some for your thoughts. Nickel and dime with some quarters for the 50. Dollar bills, what I'm trying to get until I'm filthy. We set the standard in the city, this a different run. Smoking the game should carry riches, son.
I see fallacy and try to make sense of it with fancy analogy. Floating through the void, your boy out the galaxy. Meditate and conversate with Pops, I know he proud of me. Made a son out of anyone that would challenge me. Even in your wildest dreams, you can't amount to me. Niggas was in the mud, I heard them call out to me. George Jefferson strut, the city showing out for me. I was made to build niggas up, so it astounded me to find out some niggas not homies, they just a clown to me. You never seen a nigga inhale an entire cloud of trees and shatter every expectation you ever had of me. Twice as good as like half the niggas that do this for a salary, that learn to be self-conscious upon the first sound of me. It's funny, I take pride in the people that fucking doubted me, but even more pride in the people I have surrounding me.
It's that creme de la creme. Vince Carter with his arm in the rim. You wouldn't believe it if we told you, so we caught it on film. How you do it, I don't question it. This was set in stone before I stepped here, like an Old Testament. I ain't got a curse in the verse, it's a clean body. 2 days after the autopsy, 3 pats on the head, now get the ball from the net. You disrespect, and I'm KG with the retrospect. You know what's up.
I see fallacy and try to make sense of it with fancy analogy. Floating through the void, your boy out the galaxy. Meditate and conversate with Pops, I know he proud of me. Made a son out of anyone that would challenge me. Even in your wildest dreams, you can't amount to me. Niggas was in the mud, I heard them call out to me. George Jefferson strut, the city showing out for me.
Do it still slap? Yes. This song created the Do It Still Slap test.
Yeah?
Yeah,
because this is the first track.
This is the first song, so we would listen to it and be like, do it still slap?
Yeah, I mean, like, for months following this, we would start the session by listening to this song and be like, do we still feel like this is the tone setter that we want it to be? Do it still slap? And it does, every time.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, it's not out of line to say this is the darkest track on the record, right? Do you feel that way?
Let me think here. Let me think on that. Darkest track.
Maybe just orally.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, this or Work in the Morning. I think that's got a real grit to it.
Like, yeah.
But I mean, probably this one.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not a bad thing.
No.
I mean,
I was thinking because I was trying to see if I could think of one that I felt was darker, but I think you're right as far as like sonically.
Right, sonically, much better. Easier to say word than orally. This is the worst.
Yeah, dude.
The vocal effect, the distortion on it is like, drives me crazy. Absolutely love it, particularly at the end of the song.
Oh yeah,
like just
we knew we wanted to chop and screw the end. Do something like
that. The last one I was like, pitch that down, bro.
Yeah,
it's really interesting to hear.
I think we did that in the recording session. I think I just threw in an effect on that last hook as a placeholder. I was like, this isn't the final version of it, but I'm going to do this at the end.
Before everyone got there, we just had the hook laid down. And so that was the first time Stan had come to the studio, and Slab was there, Dot was there, Corduroy Clemens. I don't know if there was anyone else there. I think it was just
us.
The people on the track. Yeah. We had already done the hook. We had the hook looping, and it already had that pitch down on it. And Stan was like, "Oh yeah, I did the pitch down on it." He's like, "That's hard." You know, I was like, "That's cool."
Yeah.
And so that was Stan's first time seeing the studio, and he was flabbergasted. Like he was like me the first time. Like he was just in awe. Like he couldn't. And then he's born and raised in Nashville. He grew up out east, so like
it's all hidden. The studio's like super hidden, right?
Yeah. It's like. And he was like, I can't believe this was here. Like, he was just blown away. And so, like, he was so full of excitement that he was just like, insert Stan. He literally said, insert Stan. He said, when you're ready, just be like, insert Stan.
No.
And so we were working on our verses. Slab was like, I got my 8. I had mine. Dot was like, I got my verse. Stan fucking freestyled his verse.
Oh, wow.
Maybe my favorite verse on the song.
Yeah.
They're all good, but man.
Yeah, dude, and the structure and like for him to just have that in the tuck, just like in his head like that, I was blown away, man. And I was like so nervous. I was so nervous that day because these guys were here and it was like so much star power in the room, and I was like, and all these guys that I've looked up to, you know, and they're here to work on my record. I was super nervous doing my verse. Oh my god, it took so long.
But, it's weird, like it's a weird thing, I think, to people who aren't a part of the hip hop scene, because everybody is still at a relative level of undiscovered. You're really like aspiring for more than they have right now. But within the hip hop scene, there's this kind of like unspoken hierarchy of people, you know, that really, you know, Chris has been listening to Slab's music and Stan's music for years. And even though on paper, everyone feels like peers, there are moments where people come out, especially the first time they're coming out to the studio, the first time you're interacting with them, where they don't feel like your peer yet. They feel other. They feel like a celebrity that you are getting the privilege of working with.
Oh my God.
And that energy, it was, you know, maybe the second or third time working with Slab with you and the first time working with Stan, that session just had a lot of that, of like, man, it's really cool that these people want to be on this record.
Yeah.
You know, your peers saw you as somebody that they wanted to contribute to, even before we had anything to show for it.
As a peer.
That was a dope moment.
It was cool.
For me, man. Yeah, that was really cool. Shouts to those guys, Stan, Slab, and Corduroy Clemens, man.
Yeah, this is the most features on a single track on the whole record, and it's so fascinating to hear that this was the first track. Like, kind of blowing my mind, because I have in my notes that, like, maybe, uppercase, maybe, is this the thesis statement for the record? Like, is this sort of like, it's about working, and it's about supporting family, it's about finding yourself, and the city showing out for me, and like, it's knowing that your pops is proud of you, and like having that sort of family thing. Like there's something really deeply, there's a core to this track that's very heavy in a good way.
Yeah, I think so. I think an argument can be made for that being the thesis statement, because I mean, I talk about like, I take pride in the people that doubted me, but even more pride in the people that surround me. So like, I'm literally like teeing up those guys. You know, it's kind of like the posse cut, right? We were like, how can we get all these guys on here and not have like a 6-minute long song? You know what I mean?
Right.
No. And so like, we had the idea to split them into 8 bars, like 8 bars a piece. I'm still on the hook. So it's like, even though I'm not I am the first voice you hear. I'm not the first verse, but I'm still like the biggest presence on the song, and it still showcases all these other talented
for sure.
dudes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I think about that line that you end your verse with, that you just said, all the time while we were making this record. That I take pride in the people that fucking doubted me, but even more pride in the people that are surrounding me. That if you want to say there's a thesis statement somewhere in this song, that to me was rattling in my head the whole time we made this record.
Yeah.
It was such a powerful statement of both overcoming the doubt. You know, there are moments where Chris talks about that he never would have guessed that hip hop would be where he ended up in life. And those two sentences summarize both overcoming that doubt and that self-discovery, as well as the pride of, you know, the community, the hip hop community, the family,
the
like
company you keep, man. Yeah. That's something that before I wrote the first lyric, that's something that I would say to people. Like, you know, I take a lot of pride in the people that I surround myself with, and it's something that, like, I tell people, my trust is easy to gain, but once you break it, it's near impossible to get back. And so it's like, if I invite you into my circle and you cross me or someone else in the circle, it's a wrap. It's a wrap. Like, you know what I mean? So
yeah. Well, it's just crazy to me to think about like the energy of what that session felt like, and how like familial those people feel now. You know, how like a part of everything that we do, Dot and Slab and Stan, and I mean, you know, a whole list of people. It really like was something that I feel like we manifested in that first session. That over the, you know, last 8 months has really kind of like grown into the community that we're a part of.
Like, talking about that, the last 6-1 Tribe session we started it by playing the album for anyone that wanted to hear it.
Yeah.
And then, you know, then we were going to break off and, you know, cook up some new stuff, whatever. The people that were there were the people in this room, and then Corduroy Clemens, and then literally right as Amaze 88 says it brings other creative people around, Slab comes in.
Yeah, Slab walked in the door.
Walked into the studio. And so like that's kind of like the core of 6-1 Tribe in a way. And so like it meant a lot to me to have even just those people there. And it's no slight to people that couldn't, people who had other obligations, whatever.
Sure.
I'm not.
Oh yeah,
like
and we played it again for them. We played Rio and Wizzle.
Right.
Everybody heard it.
It was like them coming through and just seeing the solidarity, like, just made me feel good, and they loved it. They just had nothing but good, kind words to say after it was done. So yeah,
it's a special one.
Mm-hmm.
It is a special one for sure. All right, let's
Still slaps.
Still slap.
Still slap.
Do it. Still slap.
All right, let's check out Pops Was a Chef 2. Featuring Black Wizzle.
I like my whiskey with some ginger ale in there. I got some niggas I ain't seen in a minute. Yeah. Had a dream, I spoke to my pops, but I don't remember what he said to me. He went to culinary school, so he probably gave me the recipe. That boy cooked like his pop was a chef. The raps come off the top of the shelf. I'ma keep rocking till they stopping my breath. I can't move, yo, I got nothing left. I put it on my last name, the family crest. Book of Eli for the beat. I'm traveling west. Calcutta got the pressure you can feel in your chest. Y'all ain't eating, you just making a mess. After his brother died, made my pop was depressed. He was a veteran, he had a purple heart in his chest. Defibrillator for the cardiac arrest, cause he couldn't calm his nerve without lighting a cigarette. Flamboyant with the coffin, my nigga would make a joke about it. My cousin said I do the same thing. My auntie said I got the same smile, same face. I like to think I got the same style, same taste. I like my jeans fitted with a crease in them bitches. He like his bacon cheeseburgers with a little sauce to dip it. And I like my shit the same way. I said we got the same style, same taste. I like my whiskey with some ginger ale in there. I got some niggas I ain't seen in a minute. Yeah. Had a dream, I spoke to my pops, but I don't remember what he said to me. He went to culinary school, so he probably gave me the recipe. Raps, broke backs, broke packs, smokes like I got a sixth sense. All I see is whack folks. They giggle in the back of the class and they pass notes, looking stupid like when Trump recounted and added votes to the other nigga. Talking about your Uncle Joe. Me and Calcutta go together like Jack and Coke. Track ice cream soda, we keeping the game afloat. You know. Pain of his loss, it weigh on me like an anvil. Depression got a handle, trying me free samples, I'm destined for greatness, I can't deny it. They watching in amazement, they faces, they can't hide it. A ladder to the top of the rap game, I'ma climb it. I manifest greatness, I understood the assignment. The vibe shit, the tribe shit. Something on my waist to waste those hating my clique. I like my whiskey with some ginger ale in there. I got some niggas I ain't seen in a minute. Yeah. Had a dream, I spoke to my pops, but I don't remember what he said to me. He went to culinary school, so he probably gave me the recipe.
Yo, man, it's your dad. Happy birthday, man. You know, I normally get you early in the morning. I slipped. Love you, man. Call me back if you want to. Later.
So, this is a sequel to the Father Figure release.
Yes.
But it's not exactly a sequel because it's also kind of a remake in its own way too.
It's got some elements of the original, but I tried to transform them, and
it's like a slightly elevated version.
Yes, and so Calcutta even did the new beat. When I got this idea, I said, "Yo, do you think you could cook up like a little?"
And he did the original too.
Yeah, he did the original. Pops Was a Chef beat, and so this was like you talk about. We're talking about a couple of the different homages I had on this album. This was one to Nipsey Hussle. He does a lot of stuff where he'll do sequels to songs from previous projects, and he does like Status Symbol, like Blue Laces 2, Blue Laces, all these songs that are sequels and like running stories. And so what's interesting is a big inspiration for this entire album was Calcutta, because what we'll do, since Calcutta's in California, we'll have like remote sessions, and I'll play him songs, he'll play me beats.
Yeah,
we'll work on stuff remotely. And so I was having a conversation with Calcutta, and he said he was talking to like an uncle of his, and he said that his uncle said that he had a similar experience growing up, like as far as the interaction with his dad, and he was like really relating to those songs, but he wanted to hear more of the story because he was so interested in it, and that's slick, like what kind of like planted the seed for the Chosen Family. I was like, oh, he want to know the whole story? I'll give him the motherfucking story. You know what I'm saying? Like, so that's how that kind of came about. And then wanting to do that Nipsey homage, and then having all those, like, it's just expanding on my dad and my relationship with him.
Yeah.
Father figure and Pops was a chef. Both of those songs ended up being on this album because I was like, wait a minute, those songs fit the theme of this album
very
perfectly.
thematically.
Yeah. So,
well, and I mean, you met Wizzle in a 6-1 Tribe session, and just like hearing the tone of his voice.
Yes.
Wizzle, when I first met him, described himself to me as the entire Dungeon family reincarnated in one person. And you know, there was something about the way he sounds when he sings and the way he knows to just stack and layer his voice that is really special. And
he has an incredible voice, man. And like so
For
melodic
sure.
and like I knew I wanted him on my album the first time because Rio, actually, he's a friend of Rio's, and Rio brought him to a 6-1 Tribe session. And he went in and completely freestyled a verse for a song we were doing that session. And I perform on that song as well. And when I heard, and it's not even done yet, like, you know, Aaron's mixed it a little bit, but it's like I bang that shit like it's.
I'm gonna finish it tonight.
Yeah. Ooh, don't tell him that. But yeah, so like hearing him on that and hearing his performance and what he did, I was like, nah, I need some of this flavor for the album.
Yeah.
And I think I was telling you before we got started, I wrote everything on there. I wrote the verses and the hook. But when he performed it, I was like, no, I told Aaron to take me completely off of the hook. He was like, no, I want you on there, but we'll make Wizzle the lead vocal. And when he did that, I was like, perfect.
The hook is one of those hooks where you're like, oh, the world needs to know this hook.
Yeah.
Like it's like a club banger. You can envision so many people just like invested in that.
You have to. It's interesting you say club banger because it's like you have to like. In some situations, it's like you kind of like hide the messages in like a energetic track like that.
Yeah,
like,
yeah. I mean, it's a heavy song,
right? But motherfuckers will be in the club like, oh, like it was some ginger.
Yeah,
you know
exactly.
What I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
And so that's something I learned from like Lupe Fiasco. He's like, because he was signed to a major label deal, but he still wanted to like, you know, be conscious and stuff like that, and you know, you gotta bury the message under these like
it's perfect
poppy
for sure.
I'm not saying that, you know, but like you kind of sneak it in there so you can still like get something to market and then still get your point across.
That happens all the time.
Yeah.
There's like your pumped up kicks.
Yeah.
Foster the People.
That song is like about bringing a gun to school and shit. Yeah. Like that is a fucked up song.
Yeah.
People are like, oh, I got my pumped up kicks. Like that song is dark.
Or like Swimming Pools by Kendrick Lamar.
That too. Yeah.
It turned into a party anthem, and it's like actively a song about like the dangers of alcoholism.
Yeah.
But I mean, the back half of the hook too is just like another one of those moments that's just super vivid for me of, you know, like waking up from a dream and kind of like half remembering it. I just like...
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. That is actually a dream I had. Like, I had a dream that we were at a barbecue and my dad was there and I was just sitting. It was like I was looking at him and it was like we were having a conversation, but nothing was being spoken. That was very vivid in my head. It was like my dad came to visit me and it's like he had, like, we were communicating, but we weren't talking.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know what he said, but I know he gave me some game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so like he was a chef. He went to culinary school, and so I'm like I put all that in there.
Yeah. Is that an actual voicemail at the end?
Yeah. And that tees up of another voicemail. Yeah. Man.
It does. It does tease up. It tees up very nicely.
It's funny, man. You sent me the two voicemails from his dad. That one and the other one that plays are both birthday messages.
Mm-hmm.
And for a long time, I did the same thing where like I saved all the voicemails that I got left by my parents on my birthdays.
Mm-hmm.
And I never knew why. But I just like throughout the year, I just like would have them. And, you know, like seeing it now through this lens of like this thing that can still connect you to like this person that you lost. Like it really like it's powerful,
immortalized.
Yeah.
That's why.
I was personally really like happy to get to hear his voice on this record after like learning so much about you and your life through the music. It's cool to have these like real human moments where I get like a little vignette of the character, that we talked about.
Yeah, for sure. All right, you want to move on to Father Figure featuring Chan Tate?
Go ahead and do that.
All right.
Needed a place to hang his hat, so he came back and acquired a fire crib in the cul-de-sac. I got a certain swag, a different way about me, but hating niggas still talking crazy like it's okay to doubt me. Yeah, they tried to clown me. Man, get away from around me. I know you miss me when I die, but you'll be okay without me. The level that I think on got an ocean's depth. Ready to get my drink on even when it ain't no potions left. That shit that slow your steps. Got no emotions left. Once I get to that level, I know it's time to control myself. Learn to console myself. My uncle gave me the game. He was in Iraq taking soldier steps. Needed a place to hang his hat, so he came back and acquired a fire crib in the cul-de-sac. I'm tryna get like him. I'm tryna get like him. I'm tryna get like him. Yeah, I'm tryna get like him.
昔、都の近くの村に竹取の翁と呼ばれているおじいさんがいました。おじいさんは毎日山へ行って竹を取り、それでかごを編み。
Needed a place to hang his hat, so he came back and acquired a fire crib in the cul-de-sac. I'm trying to get like him, cause he eatin'.
That was Father Figure featuring Chan Tate. As we mentioned in the last discussion of the previous song, Father Figure Release came out a while back, featuring Pops Was a Chef and this track, Father Figure. This is clearly a totally new recording.
Yes.
Maybe not clearly, because I said that as a question. So.
No. You got it. So unlike Pops Was a Chef 2, this was we just redid the song and just wanted to elevate it as much as we could.
Yeah, we thought we were going to redo the beat, and then we listened to it, and we're like, this beat actually is perfect. Like, this is the beat that the song needs.
The beat goes crazy, and then, like, when we heard it on the studio monitors, we're like...
Yeah. We're just like, I just want to remix it, and then we recut the vocals. Yeah.
I do enjoy a previous song that, I liked Father Figure when it was released before, but hearing it in this new sort of context is really nice.
Yeah.
I love that vocal effect. That wild vocal effect is back on this song. I don't know.
One?
There's just it's like kind of a callback from a previous track. It shows up here again, at least for me, sonically.
It's there. Don't worry.
Feels similar.
I believe you.
There was one lyric that was like, "I'm trying to be like," and I don't know if you say he or me, and I don't want you to tell me, because I think the ambiguity of my mishearing of the lyrics is very poignant and heavy for me, and I don't want you to clarify for me, but I love that.
I sure won't.
Just because I can't understand myself. I have 43-year-old ears, so it's so meaningful. I'm trying to be like he or trying to be like me, but they're maybe the same. It's very powerful for me. I think it's great. I do want to ask, what's the Japanese sample in there?
Not a sample.
It's not. It's a voice note.
Yeah,
it's a voice note.
It's a multilingual friend of his.
Yeah.
Well, look at me assuming terrible things.
No. So Vidal, who the guy from Nova Scotia who was on Room Full of Elephants. So the reason I bring him up is because she is part of that same friend group. She is my friend Sue. She is the community manager at a game development company.
Nice.
Or a publisher. And she's the community manager, so she's the one that I connected with to become a moderator for like Streets of Rage 4 and so she lives in France, but she's of like Afro-Caribbean descent, but she is fluent in English, French, Japanese, and then whatever language they speak in like Guadeloupe and Martinique or whatever island her family's from. Yeah, so she is a beast. Yeah, and she actually sent me. She's another one that sent me like 4 or 5, 6 voices. Like she sent me a couple in Japanese, sent me a couple in French, and that particular voice note is actually, I think it's an excerpt from a poem or part of a poem. It's like The Legend of Kagura Hime. It's like a Studio Ghibli movie. It inspired one of the Studio Ghibli movies. She told me, and because I have it in a tab, I'm gonna go read it and then watch the movie. So I'm not just like
had that context. Yeah.
I own them all. If you want to come over and have a movie night,
bruh.
Yeah. Now that we're done with the record, we can actually just like hang out and be friends
as friends.
Yeah.
That's good. I've been waiting.
Yeah, I mean, and this was another one for me that just like not coming from a family that was as tightly knit as Chris's. It's just like so cool to see role models in kind of extended family, my extended family were people I saw on holidays, and like we were fine, but like I didn't really know enough about them to look up to them. They were just family, and really like hearing him tell his uncle's story, kind of the same way he talks about his aunt kind of becoming a maternal figure in his life, seeing how his uncle kind of became a paternal figure and inspired him and still inspires him. You and Sean buying your first house in the midst of all of this, just like this story was another really cool addition to
manifesting.
Kind of like,
yeah, man. Like I said, my mom has 4 siblings, and they're all, except for him, they're all women. So it's like, and then he was in the army. So it's like I was raised by 5 black women, my mom, 3 sisters, and my grandmother. And so it's like 5 of the most strong-willed like black women that I know. And it was amazing. It gave me so much insight. It gave me so much sensitivity. And he was just as much a part of that because he is actually an extremely affectionate person. Like for him to be in the army, and he's the type of guy that loves to do crazy shit to have a story to tell. And he's funny, and like, so I've always looked up to him. And I said my uncle gave me the game. Like he would always, every time, especially when I was in college, every time I would see him, he would ask me if any army recruiters had talked to me. He was like, because he knew I was smart, he knew I was like getting my shit. He was like, you don't need to be in nobody's military. Like, and not to say that like people that are in the military are not smart and all that, but he was just like, you need to do what you are doing. Like you're doing your thing. Like don't, because like there was
really supportive.
There were recruiters on campus that would approach me, and he was like, any recruiters talking to you? I'm like, oh, this one guy, he was like, don't talk to that nigga.
He ain't your friend anymore.
Yeah. I was like, no, because he was a recruiter. He's like, and
he knew the tactics.
He knew, he knew the tactics. He knew the type of people that they look for.
Yep.
And he was like, that's not you. And so, like, I talk about my uncle gave me the game, and he did a tour. He may have done 2. I can't remember. But, like, he was in Iraq, like, all that shit, man. We were worried about him, like, at the height of that shit during the Bush administration, all that shit, man. So it's like, I looked up to that man. Yeah. It
was, again, very cool to me. I just, like, my dad was an only child, and my mom had 2 brothers, but they didn't live anywhere near us. So I just, like, I never had that relationship. And it just is one of those moments that just really like speaks to somebody that doesn't have that. It's just really cool and special. I really like it. I am glad we included those 2. I feel like they are just as much a part of the story as everything else.
Yeah, because they were late ads.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I kept going back because I would listen to Father Figure. I was like, man, I would text Calcutta. I was like, dude, this shit slap, man. And it fits the theme of the album.
Yeah.
Maybe we should put this bitch on here. I don't know.
That was great. Yeah.
And then we slide into the final track of the record. This is the Chosen Family outro featuring Auntie Joe.
Yes.
Hey buddy, this is your dad. I'm calling to make sure I didn't miss your birthday like I did last year. If I did, I apologize in full. You know I love you. And you know I love you. Call when you get this message, Junior.
I'm trying to live to see the brightest times in a studio out east, surrounded by the brightest minds. And you just heard me spit the tightest lines for like 45 minutes. I'm just glad that you could find the time. Help from my friends, but in the end, the shit was my design. You never could have told young me he would end up writing rhymes. Young, black, and gifted. He got all the signs, so much self-reflection. He can't do nothing else but shine. He kept it tight, no filler, no throwaways. Sky's the limit, I won't let my dreams float away. I used to rap in the closet, now slabbing me open up for Zay. Look at all the games I had the guts to play. Look at all these things I had the nuts to say. And look at all these people put their trust in me. We had a bond that was stronger than steel. You made it rust away. Miseducation of Lauryn Hill. I used to clutch the tape like every ghetto, every city. I would bump that shit in your room. Rewind the tape, bump it again. It's a lot at stake. My trust in the wind and it drift away. So I got to clutch in a pen to relieve my pain. My little cuz be rapping too. We in a whole different space. I let my mind drift to a distant place. They really not believing your boy got some shit to say. They be like, Chris, man, you got some shit to say? Yeah, nigga, how else I learned to spit this way? I remember Bonnaroo, ASAP Rocky had tits on stage. He said, I love bad bitches, that's my fucking problem. Bad bitches topless, crowd surf the fucking problems. I look around at the homies like, who are we to stop them? And there she go, like there she go. They was crowd surfing, bro. They was trying like, we didn't want them to fall cause it was just mud and rocks, bro. It was in Bonnaroo, bro. My wife said she know that my pop's proud of me. I told her I agree. Him and Nanny been looking down on me. And I know they liking what they see. Lyrically speaking, he hella decent with the poetry. When I was little, Nanny be bumping that Jodeci. Not Casey and JoJo, Jodeci. Them days I wouldn't talk to pretty girls, just hope they notice me. We used to laugh and joke about the same stuff. When that shit was messing your brain up, the aftermath was breaking the gang up. Ain't talked to mama since you passed, but she ain't changed much. Probably still think she ain't do nothing to be ashamed of. Spending your money, moving around like she done came up. Then turn around and try to blame us. If you ain't do nothing wrong, then what you so afraid of? I know it's messy, but it's heavy on my chest. I felt the weight of that shit, but I was impressed. I took the pain and I turned it into success. Look at how I make beautiful shit just manifest. And there she go, like. There she go, like. You should know, like. You should know. I'm trying to get where my pants can't fit. Pockets of cash. Uncle Nearest endorsement. That shit stay in my glass. These was just a couple thoughts from my past that stay with me. And you can't choose your blood, but you can choose your family.
That's facts, bro. Big bars.
Yo, big homie, what's good? It's Tennessee Luna, man. You know I had to hit you up today to share some of these blessings, man. Just wanted to let you know. I see you doing your thing, bro. And I love to see it, dude. I love to see it. Keep it going, man. You know, I was trying to put a homie on to your work the other day, and he asked me, yo, Luna, man, tell me, what do Negro Justice sound like? Who's somebody you can compare him to? And, man, I had to end the conversation right there, bro. Ain't nobody I can compare you to, dude. You out here doing your thing like can't nobody else do your thing. You know what I'm saying? That's crazy. That's crazy, and I love to see it. Keep putting on for the city, man. Keep doing you. Like I told you the other day, you don't got no ceilings, bro. Keep it going up, you feel me? For real. Keep it going, bro.
I mean, this song is impressive in a number of different ways. Listening through it again today and taking my notes, the actual beat, like there's a lot of acoustic guitar, which is maybe, I don't know if I'd say rare, but it was unexpected. The backmasking sort of style to it, of the looping, was like my jam. I'm a very big fan of that. This, of all of the songs on the record, there's a lot of you in here and there's a lot of emotion and weight. This song, like, I will cry. Like, it was a wash of emotion. Like, it's such an epilogue of this whole thing, and it has a very different vibe from the rest of the record, but it's optimistic and it's uplifting and it's reflective. It's a beautiful piece of work.
Oh, man.
You know,
So
and we're
much,
talking about like a hip hop record that has like Room Full of Elephants and like these banging songs, and it ends on a note that is just like, fuck.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Well, so you talk about like how George Jefferson Strut was the first song that we did, and like how I originally wanted to end the album, and then you see how it ended up ending, and it's like no, that was the right call. That beat was one of Calcutta's. He did the last 3 songs on the album, and then he did Half a Room Full of Elephants, and I think that was all his beats on there. He did Prince Edward Interlude too.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was one that he sent. He actually like had posted. He posted on Twitter and Instagram about how he was like learning some new sampling techniques and sampling Japanese sounds and stuff.
Yeah. I was gonna say that it's not actually an acoustic guitar; it's all traditional Japanese instruments. Yeah. I don't remember what the sample was, but it was like an old Japanese folk song.
Yeah.
That he sampled for this.
Amazing.
Yeah, and he posted that on Twitter. And so like the thing about what these guys don't know is I have notifications set for all of them. So I don't miss anything.
The good beats don't get by, Chris.
Yeah. Like I saw that beat and it was like Calcutta Beats and it was like 42 seconds ago. I was like, no motherfucker, send me this.
I think I saw it and messaged Chris about it and he was like, I've already talked to you.
Yeah, I've already asked him for it. And so shouts to Calcutta. He just put a beat tape out. It was on this last Bandcamp Friday, Pronoia.
Oh, nice.
So 2 of these beats are on there. The Prince Edward Interlude beat and this beat. And so an incredible collection of beats. And I told him I've already asked him if it was okay for me to write to any of those. So and so he did that, and like I'll tell you, like Chan described it. He heard that beat. He's like, that's one of the most beautiful productions I've ever heard.
It's hypnotic.
Yeah, and I had that stuff, man, and that was one where it was just like writing itself. Like the words were just spilling out onto the thing. And I knew that I wanted a female backing vocal on it. I originally actually wanted Eliza, who was on To Ronin. She was on the song Pressure. I originally wanted her to do it, but she was super busy with her own stuff. Aaron's actually mixing a song of hers that Calcutta produced.
Oh, nice.
So I wanted her on it originally, but we couldn't line up schedules. And then Joe, who I knew through Slab, and had she's been to my house with Slab, like when we had writing sessions, like we've hung out as friends just before. This is our first collaboration as musicians. But we've hung out as friends plenty of times. And so I reached out to her to see if she was down to do it. She was. She came in and she killed it. Like I was there just watching her and Aaron interact was insane, because it was like, this is true musicianship. I was like, they're speaking another language. I was like, they have left me behind, and that's fine. Like there are other people here that I can hang out with while they figure this out, because they are on another level right now. And so like she did so much layering and stuff, and like all of that. There were only a couple of deliberate directions that I gave her for her performance on that song. One specifically was the Lauryn Hill line, every ghetto, every city. I really wanted her to hit that hard and get that good, but everything, like pretty much everything else, was her just doing whatever came to her. I sent her all the lyrics so she could reference them as she was recording. She just went in there and killed it, man. And she layered a bunch of stuff. That's why the performance is so textured and so fucking juicy and incredible.
Well, I mean, I remember I challenged you. Again, going back to that Tyler record, I was really into that Call Me If You Get Lost record that came out last year while we were kind of in the real weeds of the creation process of this record. And he had a moment towards the end of that record, which is also a very thematic record. It's him talking about a relationship that's gone bad and kind of how he was at fault in it. It's a very vulnerable record. And he ends it with this 12-minute long song called Wilshire that's just kind of a culmination of the whole thing. It's a start to finish telling of the story of what the record was in one piece. And I wanted Chris to really push himself to do something kind of like that with this, and to try and really encapsulate a lot of the themes of the record in its final moment.
Yeah.
And I didn't want a hook. I didn't want anything that I wanted it to be about the story, not about trying to create another song. I felt like we'd done a really good job of creating memorable choruses and all those kind of like checkmark moments of what makes a good record. I wanted this to be for the record as a whole, not for the song individually. And I feel like, talking about vulnerability, there were a lot of things that came up in this record that like I didn't know if Chris wanted to talk about. There's a lot of this that, like, as I was learning his story, I didn't feel like I had any business telling Chris what parts of his story he needed to share with people.
Absolutely.
And I feel like there are a lot of parts of the story that come out in this song that complete the image of it, that are just some of the most powerful moments on the record. You know, Chris talks about like getting emotional listening to the song. I cry almost every time I listen to the song. It really hits me in a really powerful way. Just kind of dealing with loss. And it's a really incredible moment. And I just want to applaud you for opening yourself up to being that vulnerable and kind of laying something out that kind of transcends just like being a song and is just kind of you kind of bearing your soul and the whole thesis of what this is in one moment. It's cool.
Yeah, and I don't know that you'll maybe ever know this, but once this record is out and it's not yours anymore and it's like the world's record, stuff like this
Monday
will be very meaningful to someone who is going through something or having an experience or a loss or dealing with a family situation or whatever that helps them or like says, I'm not alone in the world. And like, this is, something. This is like I'm kind of getting the what do I call them, hot eyes or
misty eyes.
Yeah, like it's a big deal. I think the sample from your dad was very like it's a retribution from the track before, and it's heavy as shit.
Yeah, that voice note. I forgot about that one, bro, because that was like I think that was like towards the end. So he was like,
well, and you can hear it. You can hear that's the part that broke my heart. Is like they're a year apart. Because they're both birthday messages, they're a year apart, and you can just hear how much his health had declined at that point, and it just like it hit me so hard.
Yeah, man.
But I think also on the flip side of that, there's a lot of like proud accomplishments noted in this song. And kind of it made me think of Gee Slab actually, because he tweets a lot: wake up every day and expect to win, then accept the wins, never feel guilty.
That's the mantra, bro.
And like.
Got the sweats.
I feel like you're kind of like, exhibiting that.
Man, I talk about it a lot. I've talked about it in therapy. I've talked about it with Aaron and Miranda. I experience imposter syndrome a lot. Like
I think everybody does,
music,
for sure.
And so it's like,
man, imposter syndrome is a real thing that happens to, I think, everybody. Like I work with a ton of people, and I'll be like, I don't know what I'm doing today. Like. I don't know how I'm going to have this meeting. I don't know how I'm going to write this document. I don't know how I'm going to do this thing. And they're like, oh, yeah. You just kind of fake it until you get there. And you feel like maybe you don't belong or you shouldn't have this thing. But a lot of people feel that way. And everybody's trying to figure out their path. And I think that is maybe more than anything in the root of this is like figuring out your path. And part of that is who is your chosen family. Like you can't choose your blood, but you can choose your family. That speaks to LGBTQ kids, that speaks to people who are having a just rough family time. There's just like this massive spectrum of people that speaks to. Imposter syndrome is another version of that, like I want people to support me and be like, you know what? You don't know what the fuck you're doing, but you're doing it great. So just like keep trying and you'll figure it out. I want to give you all the opportunity to say anything that you want to say about this record as we are closing out here. If there's any other parting thoughts that you have, are you excited for the world to hear it?
Woo, I am excited. I am excited. I'm nervous, but I'm also very excited because this is like, I don't know. I feel like, I've put out a lot of music, but I feel like it's really becoming real now, like with this, like really, really real. You feel me?
Yeah.
And so it's like sometimes like I'm like, man, what if someone from work hears this shit and like, but I'm like, no, if my shit is like getting around enough to where someone at my place of business knows that I'm making music, I'm like, I'm doing something right. Like,
and if someone at your work hears it, they're gonna like it.
Yeah, they're gonna like it.
That's the thing is like they're gonna get a 1 hour preview of so many different aspects of your life. There are very few records that I have heard, not even worked on, that I've heard that I feel like contextualize a person in the like multitude of ways that this record does for you. I really like this does such a good job of really like showing people who you are. I think that like, vulnerability is at the center of like everything you're doing on this. And I think that like if people hear it, all they're going to hear is like who you are. And I think that like you talk about throughout the whole record, like there's a lot of reasons you should be proud of that. You should be proud of who you are, and like proud for people to get the opportunity to learn about you and to hear your story. Love you, bro.
Hey, good job.
Yeah, for sure. Also, the crowd surfing story is hilarious. So.
Oh yeah, man.
That's a real story. That's a real story, man.
No.
Overall, it's a phenomenal record. I don't say this lightly. It's extremely captivating with no skippable moments.
Ooh,
like,
man.
It is a record. It is a record.
Yeah.
Italics, like bold. It is a record that you play start to finish. And that is a big deal. You know, Aaron had mentioned before that it is kind of a lost art. And it is something that I think this showcases really well. It's stellar. I'm really proud to know somebody and know the people involved with making this. I'm really proud that this is a Nashville record and that We Own This Town gets to have a fucking 2.5 hour episode about this thing. It's great. It's amazing. I will continue to do whatever I can to help support you. Don't forget about me when you're playing at Bridgestone.
Nah, you'll be backstage with me, man.
Everyone,
fuck you mean?
I'm gonna wrap it up. I think there's not much more that we can say about this because people just need to go listen to the record.
It's true.
Just go listen to the record.
One time for the one time.
Follow Negro Justice on Instagram, Negro_Justice. On Twitter at Negro Justice, _. On Bandcamp, negrojustice87.bandcamp.com. Follow Aaron Dethrage at 61 Tribe on Instagram and Twitter. You will also be following a number of other artists once you hear this album because you will love all of them as well. This is some good shit, y'all. If you made it this far into the episode, thank you so much for listening. Really appreciate it. I'm really excited for this record. This enthusiasm is legitimate. I have a script here, but I'm not reading this part. I'm legitimately excited for this record and really can't wait to see what everyone in the 6-1 Tribe is up to over the course of the next year. Nashville hip hop, I feel like it's on a precipice, but I'm not going to curse it by saying that out loud. If you aren't subscribed to the show, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button. Many thanks to Upright T-Rex for the music that's playing underneath me right now. Everyone take care of yourselves. I will talk at you soon. Bye.
Yeah, have fun editing that motherfucker right there.